Get Out, published by Ratatat MC channel in October of 2021 and originally posted to Twitter by @HAYATIJTS. This is the creepiest witch who ever appeared on camera. The video shows an old woman in tattered clothing with long gray hair moaning on the ground of her shack. Her face is what's so scary about this. You can't make out any features but a great gash for a mouth.
Astagfirullah. Bang Anton, jangan terlalu dekat. Bang Anton, mundur, Bang Anton.
As this brave woman steps away, the witch springs out from her shack, crouched down low. She crawls creepily on all fours across the ground toward the woman. The woman appears to be doing some martial arts toward the witch, preparing to defend herself. The witch then gets the better of her, casting a spell her way. This throws the woman on her side, and she sounds like she's choking, but she rights herself. The witch then casts another spell, throwing her back again. The woman is really straining this time. The witch may have won this battle, but will she win the next? I guess it's this woman's decision if she'll ever return here again. A ghost hunter named Jay goes exploring an infamously haunted place known as the Yellow House. The paranormal activity begins minutes into the investigation.
Anyone that's residing in this house, I come in peace. You don't have to be scared of me. I'm gonna get the EMF meter out just so I know kind of what's going on around here. Oh. How you doing? Do you remember me from the other night? We're off to a good start. Well, I will keep an eye on this as we walk around. Keep stepping on though. The heck? Man, I can feel people just walking around behind me. This is so much more active than it was the other night. I swear I keep hearing somebody moving around. It's freaking me out. There was nobody in here when I walked around earlier. Now I have been here for a little bit. There's just a tapping in here. Hello?
He crosses back through the kitchen. Watch the sound levels.
Okay. So maybe we disproved that one. I still hear somebody else.
Angry.
Angry? Are you trying to make me angry?
No.
Notice how the ghost says the word angry just outside of a room with a bunch of holes punched in the wall. Something is in here.
I swear I'm being followed. I swear something is walking around behind me, messing with me, and then going around and...
Part of Jay wants to leave, but this is the best paranormal evidence he's ever gotten, so he swallows his fear and sets up one last experiment using his final piece of equipment.
You know what? I actually want to try some. We were getting that stick figure in this hallway, like I was saying, or in this closet. I want to see if. The heck? That ball was just going off without. Look. Thank you for making that ball go off.
He is not moving at all. It's not the floor shaking from his steps. He goes back to the kitchen where he's gotten the most activity.
I know you guys had. I hope this picked that up. It sounded like somebody just tapped on the wall. Keeps wanting me to go back there, but I'm done.
And if you thought that video was creepy, look what happened a month prior when he went exploring a place known only as the Haunted Doll House.
There's a lot of energy in here.
I feel it. I heard somebody talk to me a couple times. It's crazy.
He sweeps the room for activity and detects the word spirit when facing the doll. Next, they get a steady indication of EMF activity on the toy.
Just constantly.
They determine the spirit is named Josh and decide to confirm their findings with a second piece of paranormal equipment.
Can you light the REM pod up again? What's the green? Can you light up the blue? Light up the blue or the purple. Sure. Oh, I bet it is.
That's the name I got in that room.
Really?
Hi, Joshua. Is that Morse code?
Oh, no.
Is that your friend, Josh? I've never seen one of these things go this crazy for this long.
It's definitely. It's spirits of children. I can feel that already.
Dead?
They hold an EVP session, and while they don't pick up any distinct voices, a final creepy moment does happen.
If you can't see a light, try to go into the light.
While persuading the spirit to detach itself from the doll, an orb just so happens to go past the light and into her. This spirit is either finally being released or transferring itself to a new living host. The Adventures of Hamad Salhai has the keys to an apartment that is slowly being taken over by a powerful jinn. Once inside, he begins a ceremony with candles. I don't know if this is a summoning or a cleansing ritual, but I do know that what happens as a result is beyond creepy. First of all, the flame from the candle remains completely horizontal and still.
شايفين هاي معاناة الشباب.
Then his flashlight flickers with paranormal energy and the ceremony kicks into full swing.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء.
A door closes by itself, and when he opens the door back up, the ghost avoids a confrontation again.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله.
He relights the candle and goes inside the room to see what the ghost is trying to hide. These pictures adorn the walls, perhaps victims of the person whose ghost now haunts this apartment building, or maybe just family members. He is pondering something out loud that I bet would give us more information about this room, so please translate if you can.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
A shadow figure in the corner makes him drop his only source of light, and now he is left in the darkness in the same room as the terrifying phantom figure. He runs out of the room fast and grabs a flashlight, no longer worried about using the ceremonial candles at the moment, but it won't let him leave, so he picks up the candles once more.
من شر ما خلق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله.
This is what finally freaks him out. I think a ghost touches his shoulder, but help me translate to better understand.
استنوا شوي اطفي الشمع. اقول لكم والله ما نطفيه. السلام عليكم.
Unless you're touring abandoned asylums or reputably haunted sites, you probably wouldn't expect to capture anything mysterious on camera, but this individual did just that. This video has been making the rounds all over the internet, and we tracked it down to its original source. Published to YouTube in January of 2019, JJPD Producciones writes, Mr. Luis Reyes was traveling to Nicaragua for the first time. He went on a tour of tourist areas of the country, specifically to the Tizcapa viewpoint. He recorded the landscape, but did not expect to capture what you will see next. What you see looks like a giant crab insect or alien-like creature, maybe all three combined. The creature is standing on a rooftop, then it walks to the edge and jumps over to a courtyard, out of sight. While many congratulate the uploader on the special effects, some are willing to suspend their disbelief, but upon further investigation, it appears this channel specializes in special effects. So my explanation for this video is that while it's quite scary, it's most likely CGI. We've all played Call of Duty, but what's it really like to be on the front line? This first-person footage will give you an idea. The Famous World published this footage in January of 2018. The video, which is 25 minutes long, is filmed from the perspective of the driver of the US Humvee. You can see more vehicles in front and someone outside guiding the driver to position the Humvee as a blockade. The driver tells his commander that the opposing forces are taking fire, which you can hear in the background.
You're looking south, right? Look where guns are firing. Kilo 05 to Struck 5, can you give us the distance and direction over?
The driver then hops outside and fires in the direction of the opposing forces. Following some back and forth, the driver arms himself and crosses the desert in open view to cover his brothers in arms, one of whom is hurt on the ground. They load the man into one of the Humvees, and then there's a good amount of running back and forth between the barricade and the Humvee. At some point, they load up to head off. It's unclear whether the opposing forces stood down, but what is clear is the scary standoff was handled textbook by these men. October of 2017 is when a Canadian YouTuber named Moosey started to experience supernatural problems in his home that were far from normal. Things like spirit sightings and hearing voices. Something is in his house with him, something he can't see and wants gone. One afternoon, Moosey is playing a PS4 game with his brother when the television starts acting up in a way that's been happening far too often lately.
And it's really weird, like, he's been telling me it's been happening all day.
Somebody could have simply turned it off with a remote. His brother Joe isn't holding the remote, but maybe Moosey is. I don't think it was either one of them though, because it looks like somebody unplugged the television, even though they were both across the room.
Guys, what the f? This is what I'm saying. Disconnected again. What's going on?
And when you look again at 4 minutes and 23 seconds, you might be able to see the faintest orb go by his wrist. Since this was made in October, I was thinking maybe this was a Halloween video or something like that, but Moosey's paranormal problems continued well into November. That's when it moved into his room. He claims he can no longer sleep because it feels as if something is watching over him.
Guys, I don't know what's going on. There's just something preventing me.
At 1 minute and 30 seconds, there are bags under his eyes that were not visible in the previous video from a week ago, so I see no reason not to believe what he says.
I was tired as I get, you can see bags under my eyes because I get really tired at my house.
After days of no sleep, he now has a plan to cleanse the room. Moosey blends a special root with various household ingredients to make a powdery substance that is believed to keep spirits away. Interestingly enough, the sound on his camera cuts out and this orb appears just outside of his room, so perhaps there is some value in what he's about to do after all. I think it's interesting how the sound cuts off again here, almost like the spirits don't want to hear him finish what he has to say.
Demons, be gone.
Or it could have just been a technical problem uploading the video to YouTube. Anyway, after completing the exorcism, he waits until 3 a.m. before declaring everything is okay. He didn't wait long enough though. This is what happens 5 minutes after 3 a.m.
Free me from all this. Whoa, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, did you guys hear that?
I really wish he would have thrown open the door here, so we could have seen for ourselves what was on the other side. The fact that he waits for almost a full minute makes me wonder if this really was his nerves betraying him, or just stalling to give his friends time to get off camera. Nothing is in the other room, but if he wanted to prove beyond a doubt that his house was haunted, he should have swallowed his fear and opened the door a bit sooner. Easier said than done, I guess. Moosey did eventually move 2 years later. He and Hype Mike are giving a tour of their new house when it becomes apparent that his paranormal troubles are far from over.
Mike. Nick. Whoa.
The knocking comes from behind him, yet no one is at the door. However, in the mirror stands a small hooded figure, or maybe it's just the top of Hype Mike's hat. When they check the camera, the picture becomes garbled by what I suspect is paranormal energy from the same ghost as before. It's found their new address and it wants in. At 8 minutes and 27 seconds, they catch a glimpse of someone running up the stairs. Then they see it in a different monitor right outside of their door before the screen goes white. And that's when what happens in Moosey's old house at 3 a.m. repeats itself. The door somehow locks even though they're on the side with a lock on it. So that's either paranormal or just an oversight in their skit, but I was kind of let down when they show it. I'm sorry, but I absolutely refuse to believe that this person in an all-black spandex outfit is a ghost, so I'm not exactly buying this one, but it doesn't mean that the videos in his old house weren't real, or that this wasn't a crazy fan who got their address. Would you be able to sleep after seeing this? This video is a re-upload shared by YouTuber Randy Stover. I was unable to track down the original source. At first, the person looks as though they were perhaps jolted awake from a nightmare. Then this happens. Something apparently paranormal is lifting them by their feet from the bed. Is this just some crazy abnormal gravitational pull? Or has something demonic entered the scene? I think this is a true case of paranormal activity. Fishing line would tear painfully into the ankles, so I don't see any other explanation for this one. Knock knock. Who's there? Published by C's Crazy Crossroads in March of 2022. C is exploring a random creepy house in the woods that looks like it's abandoned, but is it? Chris and Joe first hear this ruckus coming from another room. He says the drain cover moved.
This freaking thing just moved.
What is it?
A drain, cover thing.
Later, as he's capturing footage of walls that have been punched in and the wallpaper torn off, his camera light keeps shutting off despite having good battery life.
If I could get my light going again. Alright, there's still battery life on my light and it keeps shutting off in here for some reason. Yep, this light on top.
He then hears something break, and then his light goes out again. Is something unpleasantly paranormal lingering here? Unseen. It seems like Chris and Joe got out just in time.
Let's say 36 or...
That was weird. And the light went out. All right.
This resident office ghost is unusually helpful. Posted to the paranormal evidence subreddit by Nice Socks Dude, the ghost here opens filing cabinet drawers so that you don't have to. In the video, the bottom drawer of the cabinet slowly opens. When the cameraman pushes it closed, the upper drawer then slowly slides forward. Push closed again. Both drawers slide open on their own. The cameraman pushes them closed again, but they both again open, one after the other. Some in the comments think the load is too heavy. They might be spring-loaded or off balance, or the entire building's foundation has sunk, but at least one Redditor agrees that it's a ghost. Do you think this office is haunted? If that's the case, at least this ghost is helpful. This place is super haunted, and YouTube team Paranormal My wants to test its energy. Watch to the right. And if that wasn't enough, the chair on which the doll sits is moving uncannily. It does this again and again. Until it can't take anymore and launches backward. This is some of the craziest, most jarring paranormal activity I've ever seen. The movements of these objects are so rapid fire, they look unreal. Friends explore a park in North Hollywood after hearing reports of a maniac approaching random people. Soon they grow bored and decide to try to test the visual range of their night vision camera for fun. He tells his friend to keep moving back until she is barely visible.
It's on night vision. Keep going.
Soon she is little more than an outline of a black silhouette against the night sky. When she is a good distance away, something that's been watching them the entire time snatches her into the shadows.
Just stop playing around. This is not funny.
If this video is real, then whatever grabs her possesses impossible strength and speed. It picks her up off her feet like she weighs nothing at all, which makes me wonder how big this creature is and how it manages to move so fast without any sound. Did YouTuber Axis2527 just experience genuine poltergeist activity? This is what he captured while home alone.
Okay, this is Julian documenting something that's happened today. I've just came downstairs from studying and drawing all day. No one else has been home, and I just decided to go down and play Zelda in my basement because that's where my Wii is.
After heading downstairs, he sees this. Watch the stool.
Oh my. That chair just moved. I'm documenting this.
He rushes upstairs, and that's when he's shut in.
I just know I'm going upstairs.
He approaches the doorway and finds nothing there, but something is listening to him.
If there's anything here, I command you to shut the door.
A moment later, this happens.
Oh my. Let me out.
That's the end, and I believe he's been stuck in this liminal space for the last decade while investigating the Englefield Green Social Hall. YouTube team Southern Ghost Society captures some clear poltergeist activity. Listen closely for the EVP. I'm not sure what that sound was, but another camera manages to capture it from a different angle.
What's that? Boy. This table just went. Holy no.
It sounds to me like a door creaks and then something bangs loudly nearby. We can't see anything in the darkness, so I'd be curious to find out if anything was moved once the lights were turned back on. Regardless, this does seem to me to be paranormal. A Ring camera caught yet another attempted intruder in the act. Actually, this time too. Published to YouTube in a Ring cam video by Full Moon Crazies in July of 2019. The surveillance camera was placed behind a lamp and captures a pair of thieves going into a home during the Christmas season. The thieves are partially hiding their faces with their hoodies, and they seem to spy the Ring camera right away as they look directly at it. After gathering some backpacks, likely filled with the taken goods, one of the intruders can be seen knocking the camera down to avoid its capturing further incriminating footage, but he didn't totally succeed. Two more intruders are caught on camera entering the room from the hallway. The clip ends without further explanation. These intruders more than likely made off like bandits, but we can only hope this video evidence was enough to catch them. Either way, this cost them Christmas, as they were sure to end up on Santa's naughty list. A YouTuber named Taijai & Co is sifting through a deep web box when she comes across what appears to be some sort of surgical instrument with strange markings, though I don't know what they could mean, if anything at all.
B4 or something? Yeah, it says B4 on it. Then there's also marker right here.
I also don't know what they were used for, only that they leave a greenish stain on Taijai's gloves, which I hope is nothing toxic. She changes gloves and moves on to the next object, an ice pick covered in red at the tip. I'm hoping that it's just rust and not what I think it is. Let me know what you think. My only question, besides what this could be, is who put it in the box and why. Channel Laney and Ben says paranormal events still occur in their forever haunted home. Here's a quick update of some of those events. First, a cup trick. Followed by the opening of kitchen drawers. Watch the silverware closely. Things get even more dangerous in another video. And the kitchen soon devolves into this madness. It doesn't appear that Laney and Ben's poltergeists are fading anytime soon. In fact, the last video makes me think their powers are only getting stronger. Redditor asserted skirted motion-activated cameras detected motion in the middle of the night, but it isn't something I've ever seen before. Keep an eye on the bottom of the garage door. Here it is again, more slowly. Something appears to slip beneath the garage door, but it looks like a shadow. My guess would be that this is an unknown shadow entity. The way the shadow reaches out is even tentacle-like. What do you think it is? When you're arguing whether a shirt is red or maroon, the ghosts in your presence will know they've had enough of you two. Published to YouTube in May of 2020. This is what happens when a ghost gets fed up with your bickering, throws up his hands and storms out of the house he's haunting. The uploader explains that during their last visit to this place, they experienced the door slamming but didn't have a chance to record it, so this time they returned to capture it on film. This video is cut down to 3 minutes of the 50 that were recorded. The clip shows the boys arguing whether or not one of their shirts is red before deciding to call it quits with the filming, since it had been nearly an hour. Just then, something clearly slams in the distance. The uploader says his friend thought it was the hinges of the door rather than a ghost, but decides that the video is proof it wasn't the hinges. He also claims that he and a friend saw a shadow person in this building as well. The uploader writes, something said that it could have been air in the last upload, but it wasn't sure. The thing, if it was air, it would have opened it. The air is coming from outside, so it would push out to open. Instead, what we caught was a ghost slamming the door the opposite direction of where the air was coming from. So the force of the door slamming was going against the air. This was filmed in Harlingen, Texas, and there wasn't much airflow in the place according to the uploader. The group was sweating from so much stale heat. Well, maybe the ghost was too. YouTuber Extinct File encounters the ghost of the Poco Aunties in this creepy video. As the team explores the abandoned place, they spot the ghost in a doorway.
Donde dormían. No mames. No inventes, güey. No mames. Cámara 2, güey. Hola.
A little further along, they capture an unexplained sound.
No puede ser, güey. La madre.
And then another. They believe the spirit here was pregnant.
En el estómago. Quizá estaba embarazada, güey. Estabas embarazada.
They then hear wailing in the distance. It continues for minutes. After a while, the crying stops, but then starts up again. And then this happens.
No mames, güey. No mames, cámara 2. Güey, ¿qué pedo? No mames.
When they enter the enclosure, the figure is gone. Where did she go? I'm convinced they truly encountered the ghost of the Poco Aunties, and if they did, they'd better hope these spirits didn't attach themselves. These guys are trying to communicate with a spirit at their clinic office, specifically Jen. To determine who they're talking to, they use flashlights.
We're gonna say, I think it's cool with that. We're gonna say the alphabet, and whichever one your name is, can you please turn off the flashlight on that letter, okay?
When they arrive at J,
H, I, J.
Jen. Yeah, it's Jen, I think, or something tied to Jen. It has to.
But another flashlight is directed by a second spirit.
Another one, right? That's a different spirit. Okay. K, L, M, N. Okay.
They're trying to figure out which of the spirits wrote the note or were somehow connected to it.
If you're not connected to it, turn off your flashlight. Daniel's not connected to it.
So Jen is. I knew it.
And finally, they ask Jen.
Jen, were you the one that wrote the note? Oh. Wait, but she's connected to it, so she doesn't.
You know who wrote the note? Were you here when they wrote the note?
Although the Redditor doesn't explain in the comments what note he's asking the spirits about, according to him, Nathaniel once scratched him. I'm really not sure if he should be keeping the lines of communication open with an entity this aggressive. This home inspector wasn't expecting to find this, published by Cleveland Marco in July of 2011. The inspector is at this residence and explains that a former resident is said to have passed away in her sleep there and that her ghost remains, as he's explaining that the ghost is said to enjoy walking around and opening doors in the home. A door opposite slams open by itself. This surprises them all.
And she likes to open doors. And she says, well, they say that doors open by themselves. No way!
They try it again. The inspector opens a door, and as he does, the door across the room opens as well.
All right, let's do this again. All right. Here it goes. Open the door. No.
This happens 3 times. While some are saying it's the air pressure in the room, others are keener on the ghost story. I definitely think something mysterious is going on in this house. This home security video shows 2 bright orbs hovering over some bikes in Carolina Beecher's front yard. She watches in silent amazement as the lights remain fixed in place, close to where you would grab the handlebars. The only explanation I have besides spirits is perhaps a dual reflection of the car's brake lights. That still doesn't explain how they float all around though, while the car lights remain stationary. At times the lights even seem to join together and become one. This vintage Area 51 footage looks like it was taken sometime during the 50s if I had to guess. Service technicians in puffy white suits tend to an oblong disc-like UFO on long spindly legs. I'm not sure if this video looks wavy because of grainy footage or due to electromagnetic disturbance from whatever power source this object has. Seeing it in action looks pretty realistic and convincing. It seems to hover in place using some kind of anti-gravitational technology that I doubt we pioneered ourselves without the direct assistance, or at least the supervision of an advanced species. You can expect to see a lot of new scary doll videos on TikTok because the reality ripple has made it easy to separate the haunted dolls from normal ones.
So y'all, today I decided to go into a thrift store to see if any of their was haunted, and check this out. Oh, no.
This doll looks no different than the 8 other dolls around it, and yet it glows with a faint orange hue to indicate that it's cursed. If the reality ripple was simply a face scanning filter, then I see at least 2 other dolls that should have set it off. Instead, this filter must be tracking something else, perhaps an electromagnetic energy of some kind. 3 friends are exploring an abandoned house and feel like it could be haunted because of how creepy it feels. They know there's a ghost in the hallway and they try to talk to it.
If somebody's in here, say or do something.
When nothing happens, they realize the house isn't haunted after all and start laughing at how they thought there was a ghost nearby, and that's when they get a real scare.
He scared you? Yeah, shit, y'all hear this.
As they run from the ghost in the hallway, one of them starts laughing and says, "You did that," to his friend. But his friend, the oldest of the group and bravest of all, sounds scared pale when he says, "No, I swear." We don't necessarily see anything, but there's no faking that level of fear, and so I believe this scary loud noise was caused by whatever paranormal presence they felt the need to summon and interact with. Nadim Shah suspects he's caught some paranormal things on video when he goes exploring an abandoned building that is little more than pillars in the dark. He suspects a place this creepy has to be haunted, and the ghost hunter's instincts are not wrong.
हम देखते हैं अगर हमें कोई यहाँ पे भारी चीज़ या कोई जिनों का साया नज़र आता है कि नहीं। हम जिन की तलाश में निकल तो ओह नाजरीन, ये कुछ हिलता हुआ हमें नज़र आया है। तो ये आवाज़ें कैसी आ रही हैं? आए नाजरीन, हम हिम्मत करके वहाँ जाने की कोशिश करते।
2 ghost sightings are enough for Nadim. He needs a paranormal encounter up close to be fully convinced. He follows the ghost into the darkness for one final sighting.
इसको देखते हैं ये कौन सी मखलूक है, क्या चीज़ है, इसको हम पकड़ने की कोशिश करते हैं। ये इस तरफ से नजर आ रही है, इधर से हम जाने की कोशिश कर।
He's all alone when a slow-moving shadow figure glides across the pillar without making a sound. It's not someone walking behind him either, because Nadim would already be blocking out the light himself. It's a real ghost sighting as far as I'm concerned. A paranormal entity, a moving shadow that deeply creeps him out and sends him on his way. Enough said. If you're hunting for Jinn, you better be prepared. YouTube team HD Adam Paranormal searches for the creatures in this paranormal home, and they find them. The radio first signals that a being stands in this corner. As they continue around the haunted home, they encounter this shadow figure. The shadow disappears, so they try to speak to the spirit. That's when they hear this.
Burada olduğunu farkındayım. Duyuyor musun?
Duyuyorum abi.
İnşallah arkadaşlar mikrofona bu ses geliyordur.
They hear unexplained banging as they search the place.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Gel lan dur. Gel buraya. Gel buraya. Gel buraya. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Another bang, and then their sound goes out.
Bir dakika.
Later, a strange rolling sound is heard.
Onu öyle destekleyerek konuş.
Şöyle.
Yalnız.
And something seems to be playing around with them.
Abi. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Duydun mu lan sesi? Duydum.
Maybe it's this.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Euzubillahimineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Durun gidin.
Was this figure behind all of this paranormal activity? I'm of the opinion that there are multiple jinn active here. Things can get out of hand. This video reveals when people and things have gone just a little too far. Sometimes those darndest things send chills down our spine. This video will make you question the afterlife. Tariq Elite writes, a woman goes to her mother's grave to visit. Her little girl seems to be waving and talking to someone and even kisses them.
Where are you waving at, Leah?
Bye, kid. Bye-bye.
Tariq goes on to ask if it's true that they can see into spiritual realms. The video shows a sweet girl, likely not older than 2, standing near a headstone waving. She appears to be looking up into the nothingness but seeing something. She greets the invisible specter, standing on the top of the grave to get a better look. She even reaches with one pointed finger before dismounting from the grave. Some in the comments suggest that the young girl's frequency hasn't been fully compromised yet by the earth, while others say that our ancestors are always with us. Do you agree? Are young ones able to visually access a frequency that we're not capable of reaching? This video seems to be proof that there really is something just beyond the veil. This 4-part TikTok series is a journey. Posted by Breadcrumb and Beaver's Pit, the TikToker was working her shift when she spotted something creepy between a crack in the ceiling tiles. It looks like an old man's face or a shrunken head.
So I was staring at my ceiling right at work, and then I see this light right, and I go over here.
In the second video, the TikToker reveals the outside of this building. She says part of the building was a school from the 1920s. She enters the kitchen. The face thing is still exactly where it was last time, seemingly peering through the cracks. She tries to lift the ceiling tile using a broom. At this point, she thinks it's either insulation or a rope.
Here's the legendary area. It's still there. Just chilling. The villain.
Next video sees her climbing up a stepladder to investigate. After lifting the tile, you don't really see the face thing, but you do see that there's a whole other room up there. In the last video, the mystery is solved. Lifting the ceiling tile, you can see what the object is. As the OP suggested earlier, a rope. What was it used for? The OP's theory is an old school bell, although you may think the saga is over. Some in the comments are seeing and hearing new mysteries. One hears something crying in this last clip, and some even claim to see a new person peering down at her. I am not personally seeing or hearing any of that, so we'll just stick with the rope. Mystery solved. When walking alone in the wilderness, you generally don't want to run into anyone at all, let alone someone perched in a place you'd least expect them. That's exactly what happened to this individual, whose footage was posted to YouTube in August of 2014. The person appears to be walking in a rather remote forested area. Ahead stands a blocked stone tunnel, and sitting atop the concrete is someone dressed in a white shirt facing the tunnel's interior. What are they doing there, and why? Reaching this depth of the forest, or that tunnel itself, are quite difficult tasks. The cameraman doesn't wait to find out, and probably rightly so. He backs away slowly before turning around and moving quickly out of there. Some locals in the comments insist to never approach that area, saying this is really serious, never go. I gotta agree, better safe than sorry. YouTuber Dennis of Dark Life came across this terrifying find in the forest, and my guess is that it did not want to be found. After hearing a sound, he turns down his light so as not to scare the creature off.
По минимальному, чтобы видеть, куда идти, потому что здесь полная тьма. Все, я пошел.
But in the darkness lies an evil that you must see to believe. What was that horrifying thing? Here it is again, slower this time. I have no idea what that is, but it looks like it's feasting on something, and its glowing eyes and terrifying screech are something that will stay with me when I turn out the lights. Would you invite yourself into a demon's home? Published by Toppy in December of 2021. That's what this ghost hunter did, and he would live to regret it. He quickly realizes he is not alone. After hearing faint footsteps on the floor above, he sets up his camera in the darkness. That's when this happens. Later, he is trying to communicate with the poltergeist, and he receives an answer.
Это ты всех мучил здесь.
Will he heed the spirit's warning? No, he will not, and the demon doesn't like it.
Твою мать.
Would you stay a minute longer inside this haunted place? A minute seems too long to me. The Southern Arizona Ghost and Paranormal Society teams up with fellow ghost hunters, the Mission Creeps, to investigate the ever-so-haunted Oliver House in Bisbee, Arizona. 26 people are said to have lost their lives here over the years, the most famous being a man named Nat Anderson, whose wife disposed of him with 2 rounds after learning of an affair. Now gathered in the historic bedroom of the Oliver House, they call upon Nat Anderson and possibly get a response.
Somebody told us that Nat Anderson was here. Is Nat still here?
This is one of the clearest paranormal voices I've ever heard. It sounds distant, yet in the same room as them. I'm wondering if this was edited in, and I'm especially looking for the opinion of any sound technicians. Here it is one more time. Maybe it's just me, but I'm detecting a hint of sarcasm in the voice, so maybe it was Nat Anderson being funny by saying he wasn't there, or maybe it was a different ghost who is tired of this question altogether. People go disappearing all of the time, but rarely are such strange events like this one caught on camera. A man in a library is calmly reading when he looks up and spontaneously vanishes. This looks like it has to be special effects, except this unexplained video also has an equally unexplained background. Multiple comments agree that there was once a longer version of this video from years ago that was mysteriously taken offline. In this longer version, this man's face is supposedly uncensored. Whoever this is could have contacted the police over privacy concerns. If so, as fake as this video looks, a longer version without blurred faces could mean this video is real. This video comes from a YouTuber named Kusun2. He's a college student with an original Xbox that has a very strange and unexplainable problem. Every time he is hanging out by himself, his console likes to turn itself on. This happens so often that Kusun2 decides to record it for evidence. The only problem is that this Xbox appears to be camera shy. He'll stare and stare at it and it won't do a thing. It only seems to turn on when he is doing something else, almost as if it's trying to distract him. Even now as he films his Xbox and explains his story, it refuses to turn on by itself and makes him look like a fool. After talking for about 5 minutes, Kusun2 finally decides to test his theory and leaves the room. The Xbox does nothing for a long time, but then keep in mind that there's no way to turn on an original Xbox remotely, and he always keeps his controller neatly wrapped up on the top of the system, so he can't be using a controller that's out of sight. On top of that, things have been regularly disappearing and reappearing on their own, and now Kusun2 is extremely creeped out about being alone. This family is getting no sleep. TikToker Paranormal Replay shares this scary video whose original source is YouTuber Ama Media Channel. A mother and her children are sleeping on the floor when this happens. The lady moves the toy as though she's used to these types of strange occurrences, but not long after, it starts to move again. And then an object is flung from the sink. That one finally scares her awake, but as she's just settling back in, she hears this. What sounds like a hairdryer wakes her up again, but the next disturbance wakes them all. Did you see it? At the end, peering around the corner. Is the ring girl behind it all? Whatever it is, I won't be going back to sleep tonight. These tourists left with a souvenir they didn't want. Published by Mystic House / Horror Stories. This scary video was reportedly captured at a popular tourist attraction in Indonesia. Amongst the brambles on a jungle path, a creepy creature is spotted peering out from behind a stone. The humanoid-looking creature's head is adorned with strange ram-like horns. Its skin is a dull gray, its eyes heavily shadowed. Is this just a local having fun with the tourists? Or is this evidence of an unknown species lurking in the wilderness? It's 2:10 a.m. on September of 2015. This individual is fast asleep in their bed, as anyone might expect to be at such a late hour. Posted to YouTube by the Gender Uwo in April of 2019. The video shows a man tossing and turning in his sleep, normal restlessness. At one point, he pulls the covers up over his head. A short while later, he turns onto his side. All normal, but what's abnormal is the body shape that appears to be sleeping next to him. After rolling to his side, the man notices the unwelcome company under the covers. He starts feeling what looks to be a solid form beside him. Appearing startled, he gets out from under the covers, patting the blanket up and down, before pulling it clean off his bed. As you likely suspected, there is nothing beneath it. Further footage in the man's apartment shows a strange blurred shadow figure cross from a hallway to another room in the home. The same sort of shadow figure is seen again in the footage from another hallway in the apartment. What do you think? Is it time to move? Probably should, just in case. Don't know about you, but I'd do whatever was in my power to avoid sharing my bed with an unwelcome ghost. At first, Redditor Dawn Granger believes this sound was in her imagination, but then she recorded it. Listen closely. It sounds like a strangled scream. Some in the comments think it's just air escaping a container of some kind. Others think it's a trapped animal. I wouldn't rule out a portal to the fiery depths below, but those two theories also seem likely. This sound is for sure something you don't want to be imagining. This video was taken near the Pearl Tower in Shanghai, China. The forecast is clearly cloudy and thunder can be heard in the distance. It appears people began recording when they saw someone who appears to be levitating or hanging off the tower. Suddenly, there's a surge of lightning, and it appears this person acts as a lightning rod because he's shocked numerous times by the lightning. But the man is fine and stays suspended in midair. I couldn't find any additional information on the incident, so it appears we'll never know what happened to this individual beyond the recording of this video, if this video is real. Listen closely, you might not be hearing things. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the Redditor explains that she was home alone with her daughter, watching a kid's show when she heard an old man clearing his throat and speaking in the background of the video she was filming.
Come on.
Many others in the thread hear the voice too, with Redditor temperamental elements saying it sounds like the man says, "What?" The Redditor asks, "Do you have any male relatives that have passed? Maybe they're back to see your baby girl." Boss said that the child's great-grandpa had passed away a little over a year ago. Perhaps great-grandpa is reaching out. Should they reach back? What happens when you find a GoPro with found footage? More Bad Ideas published this video of his findings in July of 2017. The video starts with a YouTuber mounting a motorbike that he's going to take for a spin. After about 10 minutes of riding footage, cut to the footage on this GoPro he discovered. When he opens the GoPro, a piece of paper falls out. It reads GORB 56546434, a password. He plugs this password in, and he finds his nightmares on video. First shown is a masked being, creepy as ever. Next is this mannequin-like figure moving sporadically towards the camera, with creepy carnival music playing in the background. The next is a young man holding a skull, talking about how you have to make sure it's the real thing in order for someone to pay good money for it. Then back to the masked being. This is when the YouTuber shuts the video down and wipes the memory card clean. Many in the comments think this video is cursed. Do you feel differently after watching it? Things went wrong for the Ouija brothers even before they hit record in the butcher's house. They hear voices outside approaching the abandoned home.
That's out that way now.
After the voices recede, they continue on through the house, but again they hear voices, this time screaming.
What they doing?
It sounds to me like she was screaming for help, and then...
You're just gonna have to go over.
After a while, things settle down, but they can still hear people there. At first, I wasn't sure if someone was in trouble or if these were kids trying to play a joke on them, but later on in the video, they confront the kids. Although they had to abandon the investigation, at least this didn't turn out as terrifying as it seemed. A watchman is sleeping in his chair at around 1 in the morning when a special visitor wakes him up with a racket. Published by Wokun High Official in March of 2022, the watchman enters the road and finds nothing. After zoning out again, something drops into his lap from the sky. Again, he looks for the culprit but finds nothing. Getting some more shut-eye, the motorcycle now starts to move on its own, and then the cane in his hands is kicked out from under him. When a distraction in the bushes wakes him yet again, he checks it out but again returns to sleep. That's when the woman in white enters the frame. She walks eerily past down the road, one arm outstretched to hold up her robe. She then re-enters, approaching the sleeping man. She sits and watches him a moment before vanishing. One of his legs is kicked out from under him. He ends up on the ground. Is this night watchman destined to be up all night? It certainly seems like this lady in white doesn't want him to sleep. An older brother is trying to show his younger sibling that Bloody Mary is not real. Now the two of them are alone in the bathroom to test this theory out. They say her name 3 times in the dark, and when they turn the lights back on, they mistakenly think they are safe.
Open, move. See, it's all over. See, nothing's gonna happen.
This rare footage of a possible ghost ship made waves over the internet back in 2010. Everyone thought it was a paranormal sighting at sea, but it actually turned out to be a rare mirage caused by changes in air temperature. Apparently, when the water cools off, the air temperature just right, it sometimes can make ships look like they are floating. This is called the Fata Morgana's effect. I'd really appreciate it if someone in the comments section could leave a more detailed scientific explanation to help us better understand this strange phenomenon. Amateur footage was shot somewhere in an underground sewage system. The cameraman is presumably a maintenance worker who is wearing a chest cam. Little did he expect to find a humanoid down there with him. The video begins with the cameraman seemingly frozen in place. The camera is very still, as if the maintenance worker is too afraid to move. Maybe he heard a noise and is waiting for a creature to reveal itself. Suddenly, a pair of floating eyes peer at him from the distance. The eyes appear to belong to some sort of nocturnal predator. They reflect so much light that all you can see are two gigantic white dots that are roughly as wide around as flashlights. The humanoid does not appear to have much experience with humans and seems apprehensive as it peers around the corner. It decides to run away and the cheap camera cuts out before we can see any more of the chase. The creature seems incredibly fast and probably got away, but exactly what happened next is anyone's guess. The video footage survived, so the cameraman probably did as well. Then again, maybe they recovered it from his dead body instead. There's just not enough information out there to say for sure. A YouTuber named Sonia Said is making a vlog about life in general when she decides to take a rest in the park on a nice Sunday. Big mistake.
I have some guy staring at me in front of me. He's been like holding the tree.
Notice how he lines himself perfectly out of her sight. He could come from behind and she wouldn't be able to see it coming.
What I'm doing, you guys are about to see him right now. And I am gonna leave. What a weirdo. There he is. So weird. People are so creepy.
He is definitely facing her way when she decides that she's had enough.
And now we get up and go.
He's still facing her direction long after she goes, arms innocently behind his back like nothing's wrong.
So creepy. People are so creepy.
Now, if this stranger's behavior doesn't make you say bruh, I don't know what will. A YouTuber named Combo Hugs notices a burly man acting very out of place in his apartment complex. For starters, he is peeking from around a corner and behind a bush with his phone.
Look at him. He's been sitting there taking pictures with his phone and watching people at the pool since like 10 minutes ago when I was walking my dog.
According to Combo Hugs, the man would act like he was busy on his phone whenever someone walked by, only to resume his photographic activities once they'd passed a safe distance. I will say that I did notice some small children in this video, which is why I'm glad Combo Hugs called the police and alerted the apartment manager shortly after recording this as evidence. Two adventurous friends are ready to explore an old sewer tunnel, but they don't make it very far before a strange noise makes them turn right around and head back to the light.
Did you hear that?
Right.
They escape the tunnel safely, and nothing follows them outside. The obvious answer is that this was some kind of laughing sound effect that they edited in later, but to me it does sound like it was coming from a distance, as if it really was somewhere deeper in the sewer. Would you take something that turned you into a zombie? Please don't do it because it's a horrible idea. In October of 2017, a number of sightings were reported in Brazil in which humans were behaving monstrously, with some running their heads into windshields and others flailing their arms and screaming nonsense as if they were possessed. This video clip shows what a nightmare this can be. He pounds the windshield as well before taking a running start at it with his head. With his arms outstretched, the boy screams into the ethers, while one guy outside holds an arm out, seemingly trying to calm him. The boy continues to scream in place before trying to smash his way into the bus again. This goes on for several minutes. Whatever this man has taken to be acting this way, just remember, it's never a good idea to do the same. This video will definitely creep you out if you like chocolate peanut butter cups. For some reason, this one seems to have some extra ingredients that I'm pretty sure aren't supposed to be there. Dozens of worms of all different sizes weave in and out of the chocolatey layer. Some of them are so small that they look like specks of peanut butter until they move. I'm not sure how they got in there, but this candy looks pretty old, and it's probably what happens past the expiration date, so I'm not exactly sure it's the manufacturer's fault, but still, if this had happened once, it has probably happened many times before, and maybe somebody else didn't look as closely before taking a bite. While hunting for skinwalkers in Skinwalker Village, things start to go horribly wrong for YouTuber Hype Mike and his crew. First, they smell something rancid, and they soon find out what it is.
Dude, what is that smell? You smell that? It's like rotting flesh or something.
Go. Hurry. What the This way.
After coming upon the Skinwalker feasting, they take shelter in an outbuilding, but something is waiting outside for them in the darkness.
Zach. Hello? Who's that? Hello? What's this? Go. Be careful.
Will they make it out alive? If they do, it'll be a close call, but you'll have to watch the full video to find out. Nothing good happens at 3 a.m. This TikTok posted by Diego Speckers is yet another example of that. Just watch. Wow, that's pure nightmare fuel. What was that child doing there, amongst the hanging laundry? Its black inky eyes are a real giveaway. This thing's a demon. As the person backs off, you see it again for a split second in the gap. But there's nothing below for this thing to stand on. Don't know about you, but I think this is the real deal. Definitely a demon. Another reason to leave 3 a.m. to the owls. The name of this scientific study video from Russia translates to sleep paralysis case number 278. A man is deep asleep until the door opens, and this freakish face peers in. As soon as it sets eyes on him, the poor man begins to fitfully twist and turn. Many people who experience sleep paralysis report seeing evil faces staring at them as they wake up, but this is the first time any such face has actually been recorded. Is it real, or just two people acting? A YouTuber named Flair is left shaken after a fishing trip goes wrong, and you'll never guess how. It's a clear day when they hit the lake, but after a while, dark clouds soon roll in. Flair and his friend are too busy catching fish to notice a sudden shift. That's when nature tells him it's time to go back indoors. His line pops with static. Lightning has struck the lake somewhere and sent a jolt through them both. One of them gets into the water to tie the boat off. A risky move in my opinion. He's out of the water again before lightning strikes twice. I'm glad they both appear to be unharmed. But talk about a close call. The next time you're at a club and the lights go out, take a look around you. You might be surrounded by extraterrestrials. Published in April of 2013 by YouTuber Grumpy Jamaican, this scary scary video has me questioning everything. The old footage shows an elite party at a Russian nightclub. Everyone is dancing and having fun until the power goes out and captures something unexpected. 3 of the so-called humans in the video had an inhuman quality, glowing eyes. The unsettling horror was captured on camera as the nightclubbers danced. The eyes of one woman and 2 men standing near each other all glow brightly in the darkness. No other person in their vicinity suffers the same optical glow. Unlike animals, humans have terrible night vision. Many in the comments are rightly freaked out by this discovery. YouTuber Love and Learnin notes that this cannot be a reflection. She writes, all their eyes glowed at the same time and they were in different places with people around them, so reflection is not the light source. Are these figures extraterrestrial? Or are they humans with bioluminescent genes? Either option is troubling. This video, published by Adam in 2007, shows what the owner's dog has been barking at for several weeks. In the dark video, you can see the dog approach the outer door which leads into the kitchen. He seems like he's been alerted by something. He walks right up to the door, then something eerie happens. The door blinds open rapidly, then close just as rapidly. The dog waits there, and there's a tapping noise heard on the film as light appears from the outside. When the blinds open again, then they rapidly shut. The dog whines for a minute, and the blinds roll up a bit, and then a bit more, and then even more than that. The dog just sits guard at the door as the blinds roll up slowly. For the rest of the clip, the loyal and very concerned dog just sits there at the door, aware of the paranormal happenings, but not sure what to do about them. None of us are, Rex. This event is unexplainable in my opinion, but let me know if you have a different guess. Stephanie Jenkins is filming her child at the bottom of some steps when suddenly she goes from smiling to startled.
Whoa.
The child definitely looks like she saw something, but she takes a few steps into the next room and then quickly forgets about it. Some people have noticed what appears to be an orb float overhead, while some people think that this is a speck of dust or something similar. Others think it could be a long-lost relative paying their respects to the next generation of kin. Bill Ryan is the leader of Project Camelot, an underground organization tirelessly attempting to uncover secrets on everything, from alien life forms to time control. Since Project Camelot encourages members of top-secret government organizations to blow the whistle on the most sensitive of state secrets, you can only imagine how many people want Bill Ryan gone. That's what makes this interview so creepy. While Bill Ryan calmly explains the inner workings of Project Camelot, a shadowy figure silently leans into the camera shot multiple times.
That you can get kind of caught up in these questions forever and a day and never come out of that.
Some people believe that this is a shadow messenger warning others not to come forward with their secrets. Other people think that this is a sign of constant surveillance on Bill Ryan because of what he knows. I personally think it just might be the reflection of a cameraman's arm, but let me know what you think is going on with this strange background figure. 2 co-workers at a radio station are hearing really strange noises from the basement and want to investigate. They recently heard that a nearby building was haunted and decided to see if the paranormal activity was spreading to their area. The woman in this video says that she went downstairs to get some water and heard these really strange noises.
Can you hear it?
I don't know if you guys can hear that. I can hear it.
It sounds like screaming.
Yeah, it sounds like there's like screaming coming from the pipes.
Or like growling or something weird.
They are talking about how old the building is as they walk down an old stairway to the basement entrance. The noise is growing louder the entire time. They take a deep breath and head to the final stretch of their journey. Eventually, they come across a rather ominous sign.
If you've ever seen a horror movie, you see this sign and obviously you don't keep out, you go in.
No, you don't, you stay out.
The person filming bravely walks in and the video ends. We'll never know if this was a paranormal entity or just common boiler room problems. It's late at night when a group of friends hear a woman screaming for help and decide to investigate inside the house. They enter and look around trying to figure out where the woman is. Soon the cameraman realizes their female friend is no longer with them, and as they head upstairs they see her getting dragged into a room. They try to go back downstairs, but there's someone blocking their path who appears to be possessed. With the group trapped inside the house, they are eventually each picked off by whatever was in that house. According to the footage, the group was never seen again, and though their reactions seem quite realistic, I've been unable to find more information on the incident, so therefore I cannot decide whether this is real or a skit. The CCTV video was taken after hours at a business in Ogden, Utah. All is quiet until a full-speed plate dives out of a cabinet and shatters all over the break room floor. A security guard on patrol walks over and simply stares at the broken plate for over 10 full seconds before grabbing another to verify what just happened. Neither one can think of a proper explanation. They check the shelf and it looks fine. Let me know if you have any explanation for this video besides the paranormal. Unless the whole video is fake and someone off camera pulled a string, then I have no idea how that plate could have fallen. When you visit a place that's notoriously haunted, don't expect to be disappointed. Posted to YouTube by Corndictive, the uploader writes of this clip, "Watch the very top window of the house. That flash didn't happen when we were taping this, and none of us know what it is. There were no cars out when this happened. The top window in question is that of the Glenmore Mansion. This clip necessitates a little background on this spooky place. As it turns out, many of the historical sites of Jefferson County, Tennessee are crazy haunted. Glenmore Mansion was built in 1799. It belonged to a family for a century and was later bought up by Mr. Milton Preston Jarnigan, who named the house after his first son who passed away as an infant. The home was in the Jarnigan family for a further century. Over the course of more than 2 centuries, passing in this old home were bound to occur, resulting in the haunting of these hallowed grounds. According to some legends, the house is like an Escher drawing in that the exterior windows are more in number than the interior windows. Others also suggest the home's height changes, although some say the mega mansion has 15 rooms across 5 stories, with other sites reporting there are 27 rooms. When the mansion falls dark, visitors claim there's a presence roaming around the home, but don't worry, the presence is benevolent. Some believe it to be the ghost of a local historian, Thomas Roach. When alive, Roach claimed that if ever a ghost was found there, it would be him. But one of the creepiest sightings happened outside the mansion altogether. A young girl is often seen walking along the estate's road at night in the darkness. From unexplained sounds to shadows in the mirrors, the mansion has had its fair share of ghastly ghosts. Tours of the home are routine, but once the lights are out and the house has been abandoned for the night, some say a light turns on in the attic. This Victorian gem of a house seems so perfectly cookie cutter that it's the perfect place for a haunting, and the unsettling nature of the home is confirmed by this video. The crew focuses in on an upstairs window where they see lights or a flash of white and something moving inside. Can you spot it? Whether you believe in ghosts or not, you probably wouldn't want to be in Glenmore Mansion when the lights turned on. YouTuber Nick Soderegger, also known as Sunspec, ran his channel for years, with it gaining some attention in 2014 for his dance videos. Sadly, in September 2018, he disappeared after hearing a woman screaming at 2:30 in the morning outside his residence. If that wasn't strange enough, since that day, he has never been seen again, and the mystery surrounding what happens remains unsolved. His family has set up a website which will be linked in the description, with a $10,000 reward for information leading to his whereabouts. This phantom is on a shopping spree. Published by Phantom Encounter in April of 2020, security footage captured some strange activity in the shop after hours. A meditation book is thrown to the floor from a stand next to the owner's desk. A A moment later, a loud noise is heard off screen, like something has been dropped to the floor. The owner says she's familiar with this noise because it happens frequently. One of the handmade lampshades has been thrown to the floor. What do you think is going on here? Jones Margaret writes in the comments, considering the age of the building and its history along with the age of the buildings around you, it isn't surprising that you have so many ghosts. I have to agree, this activity does seem to suit the environment. Security cameras often catch those creatures that we'd rather know nothing about. This is one of them. This video took place in Southern California. The uploader writes, "This thing fell through the wood under the eave of my house and struggled for 3 hours until it fell. The vid starts where it happened in the daytime and then goes to the event." The uploader adds that whatever the creature is, came out at the top right near the vent, and it happened between midnight and 3:30 in the morning. The footage shows what appeared to be a tentacle-like object, which appears and then disappears several times. The pointy end of it starts wiggling, and it stretches out as if it's trying to reach the vent, while the other end still attached to the wall. It does finally manage to acrobat over and get its head up in there. Then before you know it, it's squirming up into the vent, its tail waggling all over the place. It's then seen wrapping around a nearby pole before it climbs down the wall. Last seen on the ground at 3:30 in the morning. Looks like an acrobatic snake to me. Whatever the creature is, it's sure to keep you up at night. Julius Kitty has a child who won't stop looking up at the same spot on the ceiling and laughing for no apparent reason. It's almost as if someone or something is putting on a little show just for her, but clearly nothing is up there. After giggling for quite some time, the child suddenly grows silent and leaves the room while still looking up.
Oh, are they leaving? You're following them, huh?
The toddler follows whatever it is back into the room and tries to get his parents to see what she's looking at by pointing. Then she goes back over to the same spot and reaches up at the ceiling again. This time it's almost like she wants to be picked up by whatever it is that she sees.
Oh my gosh. It's creeping me out.
If this is a spirit, then whatever form it's taking does not appear to upset the child. If anything, the toddler seems fascinated with its presence and wants to get a closer look. Let me know what you think this was, and if it is paranormal, tell me if you think this is a good spirit, maybe even that of a relative, or a bad one who is trying to gain the trust of a child. If this brown fish tongue looks a little peculiar to you, then you are absolutely right.
And it may look like an ordinary fish tongue.
The last time I checked, ordinary fish tongues shouldn't have dozens of wriggling feet on the bottom.
It's almost like a beetle. But if you look closely, it has little feet that move around.
What you are looking at is actually a common parasite among fish. It grows inside of the fish's mouth in a rather grotesque manner, first eating away the fish's tongue entirely, and then securely fastening itself in the tongue's place. The fish must now share its food with the parasite if it wants to survive. Hopefully, this clever parasite never figures out a way to somehow transition to our species. For all we know, it may just be a matter of time. Esmeralda Vega is recording her family opening presents on Christmas, but one toy in particular keeps interrupting what should have been a happy family moment.
That shit moved again. I'm throwing it across the.
Maybe someone is controlling this toy from another room, or maybe it's motion activated, but based on their surprised reactions, I don't think anyone is moving this toy on purpose. If anything, the toy seems to move on its own as soon as the camera person mentions it, almost like it has a mind of its own. If anybody recognizes this toy, please let me know what it's called and if it's remote controlled or not. Maybe together we can verify if this video is real or not. Wreckful is a streamer and YouTuber, and in this video, he is live streaming in the streets of Japan. It's late at night and the streets are almost completely deserted. Wreckful soon notices that he is being followed by a man wearing a surgical mask.
Wait, I'm on follow. I'm gonna flip the camera.
Wreckful begins to look genuinely afraid as he stops himself from panicking. He ultimately decides to run when he turns the corner.
I'm running.
He eventually stops and confronts this potential stalker. It turns out this man is a fan of Wreckful and was wanting to scare him as a joke. Wreckful is still clearly shaken up from the incident while talking to his follower and his friend. Well, it turns out Wreckful was in no danger. The confusion of being followed by a stranger is certainly frightening. What would you do if you saw this happen before your very eyes? Share to TikTok by Tigraz. This crazy video has me doing a double take. The footage shows a girl at a trampoline park jumping up and down like normal. At first, nothing's off, but then... After kneeling, she bends backwards, takes the opposite angles of each leg with her hands, and manages to fold herself around in such a bizarre way that you would think she's possessed. What is this madness? I think this girl is double jointed, also called hypermobile. This involves joints that can move beyond the typical range. About 20% of people are hypermobile, but many are not to this extent. At least there's no need for an exorcism. YouTuber Dark Life says this was the worst EHF find he's ever discovered in an abandoned house. Dennis explains that he didn't bring his tent, so he won't be spending the night.
Ладно, пойду я дальше, не буду терять время. Сегодня я без палатки, поэтому ночевать я здесь не буду оставаться.
Later inside, a spirit confirms that she is there.
Здесь кто-нибудь есть из мира мертвых?
The spirit says that she remembers her relatives.
Помнишь что-нибудь из жизни? Ты что-нибудь помнишь из жизни?
As Dennis is standing in the dark, he accidentally steps on a hornet's nest.
Опа. Я попал.
He leaves a camera down there instead, so as not to be stung, but something spins his camera around. I don't know what did that, but it was not a hornet. Shand Ali Jot is a ghost hunting fashion model with a YouTube channel based out of Pakistan. Look what happens moments after he is caught on camera getting chills. A low-flying bat distracts them long enough to turn their back to a boarded-up window. Something bangs on this barricade from the other side. They stand in the center of the room more than an arm's length away from everything in sight. The ghost always seems to wait until their back is turned before it throws open a door or a window.
ओए चालू है अल्लाह अकबर अल्लाह अकबर ओ यार ये तो ताबीज़ नहीं थे जान भाई.
They put a scroll in front of the fireplace, and the evil spirit sets the parchment on fire out of disapproval. The way it goes out is just as unnatural as the way it begins. None of them did anything to cause this that I can see. It's as if it spontaneously combusted. As they examine the door, this YouTuber is thrown into the wall by a paranormal force. It doesn't look like he jumped into the wall either. His head is up and his arms are down as if he's being held by the neck as he lays gasping on the ground. One of their cameras captures the fireplace silently roaring back to life, like it's feeding off of their fear. Meanwhile, this final ghost sighting is caught on tape in the far corner of the room. It might be edited, but based on all of the other creepy paranormal evidence, I wouldn't be surprised if it was real. A YouTuber named Vicky Short offers this creepy home CCTV video as paranormal evidence of a haunted house. It's 4:26 in the morning when a scary event happens that is caught on CCTV, 2 books falling off the shelf, seemingly with no one around. Vicky says the haunted household objects moved on their own, but the alleged paranormal activity happens in a corner that the camera can't really see very well, so I'm not sure if it's real or fake. This could be a ghost moving the books, or it could be someone moving them off camera. But when the 2 lights mysteriously flash from a surge of energy across from where the books fell, it makes them suspect that paranormal activity is occurring after all. The Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado is thought to be very haunted and was the inspiration for Stephen King's The Shining. A YouTuber named Ricky Rock requests the most haunted room, 418, and records himself sleeping. Sounds of movement originate from within the room. Then at around 3 a.m., he claims a spirit entered his body. This is the exact moment it happened. He sits up and stares directly at the camera with a blank expression. I guess he could still be half asleep, but many believe that he is under the control of a spirit, and that's when some presence apparently made him speak in tongues. Watch this part and tell me if it sounds like something paranormal or someone having a bad dream.
I don't know.
The comments section of this video seems to be evenly split between fake and real, so let me know what you think based on what I was able to show. Humanoids apparently come in all different sizes. The one in this video is mistakenly labeled as a goblin, though it looks completely human except for its height. The supposed goblin in this video is shorter than 1 brick tall. It peeks around from behind a wall and quickly disappears once it sees the camera. The camera follows it to the other side of the wall and finds a tiny hole that the humanoid must have escaped into. If it wasn't for the video, this supposed goblin would not have left a trace behind. A YouTuber in India named Ankor Kashyap Vlogs claims to have filmed real paranormal evidence. A spooky ghost caught on tape while driving around late at night. A person on a bike is up ahead. They pull up to him and what happens next is terrifying. The narrow, unlit bridge must have claimed a life or 2 because the man on the bike is suddenly no more, as in gone, vanished. He expects to pass him by but goes through him instead. Tell me if you can see any jump cuts where he paused the camera to make it look like the man disappeared. It seems like one continuous shot, and if so, then that's just plain creepy. An ownerless shadow is in this alley. Moments later, a motorbike moves all by itself for almost 10 seconds before dropping hard. This incident is being mislabeled as a paranormal video as far as I'm concerned. Here's why. A strong wind blows through this drafty alley, so maybe a gust of wind popped up the kickstand and sent the bike in motion. Likewise, the shadow could be a result of this thing flapping overhead. Overall, I'm 50-50 on the legitimacy of this creepy moment, so help me decide if this bizarre street cam video is really paranormal. Lizzie Arts is freaked out in her own home because a ghost is haunting her.
Just woke up to smoke alarm.
Weird things are caught on camera all of the time. Really creepy stuff like when the ghost kept setting off the smoke alarm all night.
I'm home alone. I know which one it is. Small one. It's right over there.
The ghost seems to turn the smoke alarm on upon her mention.
We have 2 more smoke alarms in the house. There it goes again.
And instantly stops when she yells at it.
You need to stop that! I know, that scares me.
There are 2 other smoke alarms that the ghost is not bothering with. Just this one by her room. I think she should try changing the batteries and see if it still happens. If that doesn't solve it, then that means this video is really paranormal with more creepy videos to follow, I'm sure. There's a YouTube channel called Happy Life that ironically explores some of the most miserably haunted places in all of Pakistan. Happy Life began as a spiritual advice channel, and now they hope to better understand the darker side of spirituality through paranormal investigations like this one. This time, the Happy Life crew intends to check out a haunted school where numerous students were said to have lost their lives. Early on, they encounter a poltergeist who is intent on chasing them away. The first encounter sounds like it's throwing plates, but then it graduates to a heavy bottle that could have really done them harm. Doors also repeatedly close as if something really doesn't want them to go any further. But the more I look at it, the more I think the cameraman is responsible for all of this rather than a ghost. The objects always just so happen to be thrown from the cameraman's direction, a strange coincidence, and the camera person always seems to be within arm's reach whenever the doors close, so I think he is either kicking it or else pushing it shut with his free hand. But when they get to the very top of the school, they find this mysterious red streak of dried up liquid overlooking the balcony. So even though parts of this video may have possibly been embellished, perhaps a student really did lose their life here after all. The situation only gets weirder when they come across a star in the hall that could have been used as a ritual or simply drawn by them to make the video scarier. I think it could be real though, because look what happens soon after one of them kneels in the middle. The way it echoes down the hall sounds forcefully loud and possibly real. One of them explores a room, while the other records from outside the window. No one else is nearby, so then tell me who is responsible for what happens next. They decide the inside is too dangerous to go any further and stick to the outer perimeter. Eventually, they come across a shallow well that gives off a residual negative energy that could be left over from a terrible and tragic event. Something compels them to climb inside, and sure enough, the dirt has been freshly disturbed. An orb passes left to right over the small grave as he plucks this fragment of human and holds it to the camera. Shadows can be tricky things. Sometimes they're natural, other times they lean more towards the paranormal. This one seems to be the latter. Posted on Reddit by user Ukire. The Redditor writes that he still has goosebumps after receiving this clip. Some in the comments admitted to being upset with yet another orb post. But then, after watching it all the way through, their yearning for nightmare fuel was rewarded. Although it just looks like the still image of a cell. Wait for it, and wait for it, and wait for it some more, and you just might be rewarded too. The Redditor wrote that his friend works the night shift here at this institution in a former police station. The room where this is filmed is not in current use, but in the past was a place where people checked out of custody. Some in the comments say the video looks legit, others pointed out a creepy long face that makes a split-second appearance. Most in the thread comes to a consensus that this happenstance is very creepy and goosebump-inducing. Could it be a haunting, or something worse? Whatever it might be, it's certainly mysterious. Ever felt like you were being watched? These three boys definitely had reason to. Posted by the Comics Man to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the uploader writes, some dudes go to the Danakil Desert or a park. What is in the first frame? The video shows three kids getting ready to do some parkour, everyday kid stuff, but not far beyond in the background. Look at what is watching them from a nearby tree. The figure appears like a silhouette and gives off serious Slenderman vibes. The ominous way it's lurking there makes the otherwise innocent parkour video intensely creepy. You can vaguely see the figure again at a distance at 1 minute and 43 seconds. It continues to stand there in the clump of trees, and again around 3 minutes in. What is this thing? Do these boys have a lurker? Nowhere is safe. A YouTuber named Gaurav Zone is examining a notoriously haunted road in New Delhi, India. They idle their car and wait in darkness for a while to see what happens next. I was starting to think the video could be fake until I noticed one part in particular. What appears to be two yellowish eyes briefly stare at them before disappearing. I was thinking that this could just be a reflection of the car's brake lights, but if that was the case, then the light should be red, not yellow. I also don't know what would catch the light's reflection, since they are on a desolate road in the middle of nowhere. The strange eyes, if that's what they were, disappear and never return, not even when the cameraman zooms in for a closer look. Vincenzo Man Pro has a problem in his backyard that won't go away. A creepy tree creature that he has been unable to identify before or since. It faces away at first. Its broad back turned to him. At the 1 minute mark, it stretches its arms and legs and looks vaguely humanoid. Watch for yourself.
Oye, ma si sta muovendo. Oh!
As time passes by, it seems to crouch into a hostile stance. Here it kind of looks like it's on all fours with its head held very low, quite similar to videos I've seen about the rake creature. I think that it could be a monkey if he lives anywhere near the equator. Its fur color is pretty strange for one though. The sun is setting, but the camera has no problem picking up its bluish-white hue in the low light. Then it fades away from sight, possibly hiding out of fear, but also possibly following this man. It remains silent the whole time, and the way it slinks away makes him wary enough to retreat inside.
Chiudiamo. No. Ma che cazzo è?
I don't know how much danger he was in just now, but I respect his decision not to stick around and find out. Catholics honor the departed on November 2nd with All Souls Day, praying for the souls of their departed family and friends, often with visits to the graveyard. But what happens when the soul hasn't crossed over? Published by Own Vlogs, these paranormal investigators visited a haunted graveyard in order to answer that question. As the crew wanders around the cemetery's open graves, they suddenly see this vague pale figure in the distance. After glancing over several times at the figure, the men get too scared by its stillness and start running off.
कुछ चीज है तो वो हावी होने की कोशिश कर रही है और ये क्या खड़े हो जाओ निकलो यहाँ से स्पीड से थोड़ा सा ये क्या
Gathering some courage, they turn and look back. The figure is still there. They run off again and straight out of the cemetery. Was this a soul that hadn't yet crossed over? Or just a graveyard statue? In any event, this is one scary video that went horribly wrong.
अरे भाई इधर से निकलते भाई
A ghost hunting channel called Hunting the Haunted investigates an old abandoned farmhouse and gets plenty of paranormal activity caught on tape. In the kitchen, they see a possible ghost orb appear while Jay is asking questions.
What's your name? As soon as I turned around, like he was right behind me.
This could be a gnat, except it shows up when Jay wants to know the spirit's name, and while Jay talks about something appearing behind him, the light anomaly appears behind him and goes away. Another ghost orb floats up upon the mention of this word.
Did I say
Yes.
This is definitely a creepy place at night.
They go investigating the surrounding property.
That's what I'm saying. I swear there was a woman.
At 31 minutes and 42 seconds, and again at 34 minutes and 20 seconds, they hear a woman's laughter.
I'm telling you, I heard something. I heard a woman or something.
You said say that again, and then I heard like a high-pitched...
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. I was going to say something.
Yeah.
A mysterious figure is illuminated despite being beyond the reach of their light. There's really nothing else it could be because nothing is out there, at least nothing that should be reflecting light.
You know what else I don't hear? What? I don't hear that owl no more. Peace out.
And when they turn to leave, this unexplained light suddenly blinks out. As soon as it does, the same ghost orb from the kitchen returns for one last look. Somehow they miss all these brief ghost sightings at the time, but it's caught on camera for them to later discover. This happens a few minutes after they hear the woman laugh, so they suspect this encounter is paranormal, and I'd have to agree. A YouTuber named Blake M thinks he accidentally recorded a strange message while filming himself on the side of the road. Listen carefully and see if you can hear it for yourself. The message is very brief, so if you didn't hear it, then turn up your volume and listen to this version with subtitles. Right around when Blake smooths over his hair, you can hear a distant voice suddenly say, "Help me," in an urgent tone. It's possible that he edited in this voice later, or maybe it was someone yelling from a passing car, but if not, then this could be evidence of someone asking for help from the afterlife. A YouTuber named Ziggy09 wasn't sure if the spirit world was real or not until he got a visit from one of them. So I bet you were focused on the figure outside the window that you didn't notice this curtain moving by itself while the opposite one stays as still as can be. Something must already be in the home. Ziggy turns on the lights to reveal an all-white figure wave its hand, the curtain closest to it fluttering all the while, followed by a weird humming noise. Ziggy claims to have seen nothing in the window at this time, but his eerie suspicions of being watched at night were confirmed upon reviewing this video. To further add to the mystery, his last update was over 7 years ago, so either he forgot about this channel, or whatever's in this video grew much bolder. Daniel lives way out in the country, and rather than paying someone to remove the leaves around his house, he chooses to burn them instead. He stands at the edge of a controlled fire and takes this quick video.
Oh yeah, lots of fire. Oh yeah, lots of fire.
Off the distance, a two-legged creature about the same size as Daniel sprints away in the opposite direction as fast as it can. Keep in mind that Daniel lives out in the Oklahoma wilderness and has no neighbors. I really can't think of any forest animal that looks like this. So maybe the controlled burn accidentally flushed out a rare humanoid creature. With no other footage of the creature, we will probably never know what it truly is.
Come on, man, I'm in a two-way tunnel right now, man. If you down now, don't do it! He's moving! He's moving!
A YouTuber named Tristan R is trapped in a tunnel when he sees his worst fear creep across his visor, a spider. There's nowhere to pull over, so now he has to keep one eye on the spider to make sure it doesn't land on him, and one eye on the road to make sure he doesn't cause a pileup. He finally is able to get out and pull his visor down to show us a spider was in fact dangling over his lap by a thread this whole time. It might not look like much to most of you, but for anyone who has a major fear of spiders, it's large enough. He pulls away thinking that he's seen the last of them, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are hundreds more inside. This video was reportedly taken by a Navy patrol boat off the coast of Chile in South America. What appears to be a gigantic, slow-moving UFO is soon confirmed by both the Navy and a nearby air traffic control tower to not be one of their own. I was thinking maybe this was an ordinary blimp or a helicopter, until it emits some kind of inky mystery substance at the 8-minute 18-second mark. The camera cuts away for a bit, and then approximately 5 seconds later you can see the substance has solidified into a thick, clumpy mass. As if that isn't weird enough, the UFO then detaches itself from the mass, which hangs completely suspended in midair, and keeps on going until it's no longer in sight. I have certainly never seen an aircraft do that before, and it doesn't look normal at all. If this is not edited, then I have little doubt that this visitor is from another planet entirely. A YouTube channel called BD Ghost Hunters sent me this video of a cursed village in their home country of Bangladesh. They don't explain how or why it became cursed. Nobody ever talks about that. All anyone says is that it was abandoned long ago and that the survivors had to move across water to get away. Everyone knows not to cross the bridge because strange and scary things are waiting on the other side.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
But on this night, they want to find out what their elders won't tell them, and so they step forward. There's movement in the distance, the figure of a person in the shadows, not an animal. They approach the old building and see no one is on the roof.
জানলাটা মুভ করলো মনে হয় দেখো আল্লাহু আকবার আল্লাহু আকবার আল্লাহু আকবার লা ইলাহা ইল্লাল্লাহু আল্লাহু আকবার ওয়ালিল্লাহিল হামদ দেখো আস্তাগফিরুল্লাহ আউযু বিকালিমাতিল্লাহি তাম্মাতি মিন শাররি মা খালাক ভাই ওই জায়গায় বসে Astaghfirullah.
The BD Ghost Hunter team bravely goes upstairs to investigate the paranormal activity, and that's when things get even more bizarre.
Allahu Akbar. A'udhu bi rabbin nas, malikin nas, ilahin nas, min sharri al-waswasil khannas, alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas minal jinnati wan nas. Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق الله أكبر
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Not even Google is able to translate what they are saying, so translate this next part if possible.
কাঁপতেছে কি তুমি এই জিনিসটা কি দেখছো? এটা কিন্তু তোমার কি বলে মৃত্যু খাটিয়া দেখছো? আল্লাহ কিন্তু এটাকে দেখা যাচ্ছে আল্লাহ দেখো।
I'm almost positive someone is holding the chair, but no one is there when they round the corner and it's still propped up at a weird angle. Anyway, that's weird, but when they reach the balcony, where the windows first open, they find nothing wrong with them. That's when they feel the curse grow stronger and turn around. They follow the footsteps up the roof and find a door that's deadbolt locked on their side, meaning no one could have passed through. They open a rusted door and don't find much activity at first, but that all changes soon enough. A ghost slams shut the door while they are examining the object. They dare not go any further into this village and leave knowing nothing more about the place other than the legends are real. Do you believe them? I might. It's midnight when Sylvia Slarb gets an iPhone notification that someone is at her door. She looks out the window and doesn't see anything, so she goes back to sleep. The next morning she remembers the incident and quickly checks her phone. This weird shining orb is what her doorbell cam automatically recorded on that night. I have no logical explanation for this aside from a possible insect, but as far as I know, a bug this small and this far away should not be able to trip the sensor. Therefore, I cannot exclude the paranormal as well. A paranormal YouTuber named CHZA Chad is in search of some real ghost sightings, so he goes exploring an abandoned hospital in Perrysburg, New York called the J.N. Adams Memorial Hospital. This old hospital is said to be haunted by patients from the early 1900s who on occasion will still show up for treatment in the hallway as a ghost. Chad soon separates from his team of fellow ghost hunters to explore the hospital on his own. The hospital is actually a collection of abandoned buildings, and Chad is determined to investigate as many of them as he can to discover which places are the scariest and most haunted of all. In another room, he finds and mistakenly handles a red container with a biohazard symbol. He doesn't look to see what's inside, but touching it at all probably wasn't a good idea. That's not his only concern. It's not long before he suspects there is a ghost in the hallway with him as well.
Really? Whoa. I was about to say I'm walking down this creepy hallway, but here's this stairway right here. Whoa, what was that?
Creepy noises coming from both ends of the hallway leave him unsure where to turn next. He wanders across a room with a single chair inside of a pentagram, like a ritual of some kind has been performed here, one that we're probably better off not knowing about. It's a weird enough discovery to make him rejoin his group, who by this point are as creeped out as he is. While exploring a different floor, they find this bird helplessly flying wall to wall, even though there is an open window for it to go through.
Maybe that's why the bird is flying around like that. He probably knows something crazy happened right there.
It could be protecting a nest, but something feels wrong in this room, and they take the bird's confusion as a sign of negative paranormal energy in the air. They chose to investigate this area with high-tech paranormal equipment designed to translate ghost voices into speech using special voice recognition software. First it says the name Paul, followed by 2 more words.
Up here. Yo, is anything appearing on the screen right now?
Where?
Watch the screen.
Any blobs again?
Pure human is what Paul the Ghost says. I wonder if it's actually trying to say not appear, but rather up here, as in above them, possibly referring to the space where the bird was trying to go. Next, they place a backpack on the ground and invite Paul the Ghost to interact with it. At 22 minutes and 40 seconds, their paranormal equipment registers ghost sightings all around the object, and at 22 minutes and 55 seconds, the ghost kicks its bare foot off the backpack and disappears. One of the ghost hunters, named Herm, stands in front of the camera to verify that it is working correctly.
We're using electronics to see you. Whoa, that thing shot out of you.
It's like he's inside you, I think.
Their equipment has no problem detecting the ghost hunter as well as a solid black paranormal orb that shoots out of the space where he's standing. It's like he's inside you, I think, says the ghost hunter named Kasha. Tell me if you agree that this could be a possession caught on tape. Not much else happens for another minute or so, and they feel the paranormal energy start to fade from this cursed room. They catch one last ghost sighting in the corner of the room by the door, evidence that it's no longer interested in them in parting ways. But when Chad looks up, his camera refuses to go into focus, almost as if Paul the Ghost is in the hallway, watching them for one last time. Time to brush your teeth. Published to YouTube by Talal Essa in April of 2017. You'll probably be triple checking your tap before you do that after watching this video. Asking why does black water come out of the tap? Talal demonstrates this unsettling happening, letting his tap run with inky, brackish, blackish brown water emitting from the faucet. The color does not dilute at all in the entire minute that he leaves it running. Is this toxic water? Probably not. Many in the comments offer suggestions for what's likely going on, with YouTuber Jack Jawman suggesting the color is likely due to heavy metal buildup, he says. Mick Bradford and Rumble Lane went another way though. Bradford asks, do you have a well and live next to a cemetery? While Rumble Lane simply states, there's a demon in your faucet. Certainly looks like it. Valerie Brown posted her dog Ruthie's ghost sighting to YouTube in 2013. She writes in the video description, she barks incessantly as if someone is in there. Everyone said it's a ghost on Facebook. I'm not into paranormal, but people suggest I post this on YouTube. So here it is. As the video begins, the little dog is barking and growling, its tail wagging as it looks into the living room. No one is there, but the dog seems to be highly alert to some presence in the vicinity. The owner asks her dog who she's barking at, but of course, she just continues barking, appearing as though she thinks it's obvious who she's barking at. The owner moves into the living room, and the dog follows, running around to the front of the sofa. The dog's eyes are focused in on one spot, suggesting the invisible entity must be staying in place. In fact, when the dog moves to the front of the sofa, it seems to be barking at someone who's sitting on the sofa, only there appears to be exactly 0 people lounging there. The dog runs back to the opposite side of the sofa, and as the owner ends the video by telling Ruthie, again, that there's no one there, the dog barks in disagreement, continuing to appear in high alert. What does Ruthie see? Is it an evil spirit, or is it friendly? My bet is on evil, as she certainly seems to be perturbed by its presence. This footage comes to us from Holland. A group of friends are exploring a park and decide to visit some watchtowers from World War II. The towers are closed for vandalism and it looks like their trip is over. Little did they know they were about to see something much more interesting than a cluster of abandoned towers could ever be.
Kerel, dat is echt je wilde zwijn hoor. Kijk dan. What the fuck is dat? Hey! Kerel, hey!
A large black figure is observing their movements from somewhere in the distance. It looks like it is trying to hide behind a tree, which shows that it has some level of intelligence, but it does a poor job and gets spotted immediately. They began shouting for the humanoid to come out. Suddenly, a series of banging noises fills the forest and sends them running. When one of them enhances the camera footage, this is what they find glaring at them. Then again, I guess it's hard to glare at someone when you have no face. Whatever this humanoid was doing, it looked like it was up to trouble. The group might have been easily attacked if they didn't try to scare it off. YouTube team Memoria Sobernatural INC enters this haunted school, and he encounters the wrath of Lucifer. As he is introducing the place, he quickly realizes he's unwelcome.
E vamos aí com mais Memória Sobrenatural. Rapaz. Opa. Aí estralou aqui, pessoal. Estralou aqui, ó.
In that same room, something is hiding.
Quanta coisa. Já tiveram aparições aqui, ó. Nesse lugar. Escuta. Existe algo aqui? Rapaz, olha isso.
Something invisible, and it continues to taunt him.
Cara, é impressionante, pessoal. Opa, olha isso, cara, dá uma olhada, cara, olha isso, pessoal, dá uma olhada pro enruga aqui, ó. Cara, eu esqueci de ligar até a lanterna de testa, cara.
Whatever is here has trapped a man.
Olha isso, mano, dá uma olhada nisso, pessoal. Cara, olha isso, cara, impressionante. Cara, assim, opa.
And it's playing with his mind.
Cara, o lugar aqui é hiper mega pancada. Opa! Cara, dá uma olhada nisso, pessoal. Cara, olha isso. Opa. Cara, olha isso. Dá uma olhada, pessoal, dá uma olhada. Cara, é impressionante.
Is Lucifer driving this car?
Opa! Cara, olha isso.
If he is, he's invisible.
Nas últimas vezes aqui, pessoal, foi hiper. Opa, escuta. Rapaz! Olha isso, cara. A porta abriu desse jeito. Olha isso.
The ghost hunter gets inside the vehicle and is nearly trapped.
Cara, olha isso, mano. Olha isso, pessoal.
Things just keep getting worse.
Isso aqui pra mim, eu peço. Opa, olha isso, mano. Olha isso, cara. Impressionante, minha nossa.
How are these big pieces of furniture moving on their own? He sees something in the window of the car. I can't really detect what he's making out here. If anything, I think it's pareidolia, but that definitely doesn't discount all the other paranormal activity we've witnessed here. This looks like a legit haunting to me. I don't know how this would have been orchestrated otherwise. A scary video of paranormal investigation shows what kind of creepy stuff can happen when exploring abandoned places goes wrong. Dan of a paranormal investigation channel called Paranormal Encounters UK explores a haunted hotel that is a hotbed of paranormal activity. He explores the lobby and goes upstairs. Past a rope, he finds 2 empty glasses at the counter. Kind of like somebody was preparing to take their own life. Dan calls out to no one in particular and captures a ghost on camera that could be a bug.
Hello?
Next, he explores a room with lots of mysterious lights. The longer he stays, the more light seems to appear. He talks about how before becoming a haunted hotel, this place used to be a girls' school. So maybe there's a little ghost girl watching from the hallway. Nothing else happens until 18 minutes later when he explores a different room. This is the part of the paranormal investigation where he addresses anyone nearby directly.
If there's any spirits, if there's any ghosts, anything in this room right now that wants to make contact with me.
Only when he looks through the camera does he realize spooky ghost orbs have been following him all along.
What reflection? Oh my, that's all coming towards me then.
Ghost orbs which fly into him repeatedly. If you believe in the paranormal, then you will probably see this as spirits attaching themselves to a living host. In other words, a possession. If you are a skeptic, then to you this is not a ghost sighting, merely dust. A while back, we analyzed a scary video posted by this individual, and it seems like his house hasn't gotten any less haunted since then. If anything, the paranormal activity has moved on to his daughter. Let's try to make sense of this scary CCTV footage. Something rolls the ball at her. She rolls the ball back and it stops abruptly like somebody caught it. Please tell me it is a remote control ball, because otherwise it looks like their child has attracted a paranormal pal. Or maybe, as unlikely as it sounds, she is manipulating the object somehow. I don't know what this is, but it's really bizarre and I can't stop thinking about it. Proving demons right. On our paranormal investigation at a haunted hotel, we capture a real shadow person hat man on video. Are you wondering what a hat man is? Let Dana Matthews from the site Weak and Weird explain the phenomena. According to Matthews, shadow men came creeping out of the shadows in 2011 when paranormal radio personality Art Bell cast a light into the darkness on his radio show Coast to Coast AM, and the result was a burgeoning community of people coming forward, explaining their encounters with these phenomena. Out of this shadow people phenomena, another slightly different experience arose, encounters with the Hat Man. Much like shadow people, the Hat Man often appears at nighttime, wearing a wide-brimmed hat, hence the name. Those who encounter him have described him as a solid black mass, darker than his shadow without discernible facial features, and no describable lower body. Apart from a long flowing trench coat, the Hat Man is often seen floating and moves without sound, quite frequently in a basement setting. Another quality of this phenomena is that the Hat Man tends to appear in places of high negative energy and family dysfunction. This video shows either a Hat Man or shadow figure haunting this generally creepy house. The figure flies down a hallway, disappearing into a distant room as the ghost investigators search the house's interior. So what's going inside this house? Is it haunted? The Hat Man phenomena is often a recurring one for many people, from childhood to adulthood. Some believe shadow people are evil, like physical medium Amy Allen, who thinks they are interdimensional entities. Although the Hat Man and the shadow person might seem one and the same, they do indeed appear to be two separate entities. If you see a Hat Man, consider your family dynamics and the energy of your relationships. Does this video make you believe in Hat Men and shadow figures? If so, don't turn around. You might consider calling the cops on the intruder trespassing on your property at night, but when it turns out to be this woman, maybe you should call a ghost hunter instead. Posted to Twitter by Daniela Guerrero, she writes in Spanish, "Okay, my parents have a security company, and how about the officials of a condominium have just passed them a heavy video of what happened last night. The video shows a large yard with a small pool. In the distance, a woman dressed in white crosses the property. She has dark hair and moves steadily forward until she's closer to the camera. She strides across, clearly on a mission, and that mission is to evaporate in plain sight. The phantom trespasser disappears into the night as she rounds a corner. What does she want here, and where did she go? All questions and no answers. Perhaps that's what we're supposed to have." Deep inside these tunnels lies something no one was meant to see. Published to YouTube in November of 2016, Connor Does Adventure explains, "We did not fake or plan any of this. We just started recording for a blog and this is what we found." Entering deep into a watery tunnel, the boys start to hear something.
No, I can't.
They all freak each other out and start running towards an exit. At first you think they were just scared and adrenaline caught up with them, but it turns out someone or something was in fact chasing them. Once out in the sunlight, they stand at the entrance before heading into the tunnel a short ways again. A strange squealing sound can be heard, and as the camera focuses in, a figure is clearly seen, although it's unlike any creature you'd ever seen before. It's gray-skinned and alien-like, and it's marching towards them with a determined air. Any ideas what this is? Is it a madman? Or is it a watery tunnel creature? Most importantly, is this thing harmless? Or should they be running immediately? Don't wait around to find out. This hunter captured the prey of his life while on an expedition. Published by Bigfoot's Testimony in January of 2022, the mysterious encounter occurred in a wooded area in Ohio. The footage shows a strange, grassy-looking creature creeping between the trees on a snowy fall day. The man says the creature's hair is gray or black.
His hair's gray and black. Is that gray? Is that snow?
Zooming in, the figure is barely discernible from its surroundings, like he's camouflaged. Most in the comments confirm that they've seen similar creatures in the forest. Tanner Urza writes, "These beings are very spiritual and in tune with nature." Others note that at some points it looks like a barely visible, partially invisible shadow. Is this the Grassman of Ohio? Or do we have another legendary creature on our hands? Either way, I think I'll be staying clear of that forest. Breaking into a vehicle under the cover of darkness is common. Doing it directly in front of the car's owner? Not so much. Published by Doorbell News in October of 2021, this crazy thief must have been seriously desperate. A woman is sitting outside her home in Phoenix, Arizona, talking on her phone as a toddler toddles around, doing baby things. While chatting, she looks up from her phone to find a man breaking into her friend Bubba's vehicle right in front of the house.
Hey! Hey! What are you doing? Bubba, is that...
The entire creepy event was captured on a Ring doorbell camera. You can vaguely see the man's white shirt as he approaches and then breaks into the vehicle. He didn't technically have to break anything as the car was open. The woman alerts her friend inside, who rushes out to see what's going on.
Can I pull you back? Hey!
The The guard dog sets off a 12-bark alarm. Thankfully, the man wasn't able to take off in the vehicle before the police were called. In the description, the woman notes that he was taken into police custody. Definitely one for the books in my opinion. You don't see this every day.
What did you say? Can you say that again? Right into the side of my thing? I heard you.
A TikToker named Deadbeat TV is investigating a haunted farmhouse for traces of the paranormal when he gets an answer to his question in the form of a passing shadow.
What did you say? Can you say that again?
He is standing completely still, and yet something moves fast across the floor. The shadow is perfectly contained within this room and does not touch either side of the doorway at all. It doesn't come from behind. Something ran across this room, a low-moving shadow with no body attached, and shortly after, this second ghostly shadow reaches out. This seems like something paranormal to me. These two motorists are driving around in the UK when one of them looks up in the sky and pulls over. They stare at the clouds for about 15 seconds and nothing happens. Then, just when they are about to give up, an unknown object appears immediately in front of them. It drifts into a cloud and some kind of electric reaction happens. Lightning goes off and then a weird semi-transparent rectangular object floats to the ground. The video is very low quality, so either this was taken a long time ago with a bad camera, or else it was probably edited. Either way, I must find out more about what was in that sky. A YouTuber named Run Gun Griff is a drone enthusiast who explores a lot of exotic locations on his channel. Most of his videos are taken on tropical islands, but this one was shot at a hard-to-find rural spot that he simply describes as being in the middle of nowhere. As his drone flies high, you can see that Run Gun Griff and his friend are standing in the middle of a huge field of crops that's covered in a series of strange markings. The symbols themselves are perfectly symmetrical and extremely precise in their geometry. Their designs look strikingly identical and appear to have no noticeable differences, a sign that it was not made by humans. I suppose that it would be possible to do this with farm equipment, but farmers have little reason to vandalize their own field, and since there's absolutely no flaws in the design, I think that there is a strong possibility that this was made by something extraterrestrial. Let me know if you think that these crop circles are man-made or extraterrestrial in nature, and if you recognize any of these symbols from any literature, movie, or video games, then I'd definitely like to know where they are from. Most of the time, security cameras capture hours and hours of useless footage. Sometimes, however, they capture something like this. Published in September of 2013, YouTuber Rainy Schooler writes, "A woman walks out of the darkness on a cold and wet night in the mountains far from a busy road and no immediate neighbors. The security camera is aimed into the wilderness and you can see a tree to the right side of the screen but nothing else. That is until, right in the middle of the shot, the figure appears, walks and stops and turns awkwardly. Not turning with her feet but just twisting with her upper body. Then she walks forward again before taking a sharp right turn and veering out of sight. The video moves forward about 45 seconds until the woman is seen winding around the tree and then is spotted back in the middle again, looking off into the wilderness, moving in the same strange start-stop fashion that she was doing before." A different security camera captures the woman walking up towards the house. Out of sight, it's not clear what she did alongside of the home, but she is soon seen again walking haphazardly away and around the same area near the tree in the back. She did this for 10 minutes, the video notes. Many in the comments think this woman must have been on something, but in the middle of nowhere. What do you think? I'm just glad they had security cameras so the homeowners were aware of her activities. I was looking for more information about this security cam video because it's really creepy. It is said to be taken from a lab experiment in Russia. The test subject lies in bed and begins to shake like something has gone seriously wrong. Nobody comes to help them and the camera continues to silently record. After a while, the test subject begins to levitate in the air, and the video ends shortly afterwards. This almost has to be special effects, and some people say that they could have seen this from a movie while others swear it was real. It looks pretty real to me, but if you've seen this from any Hollywood production, then let us know. This TikToker has documented her neighbor harassing her for months. The following clips are evidence of the terrifying stalking, posted to TikTok by Maddie Panic. Maddie writes that she lives alone, and she's reported this neighbor several times. In the first video, you can see her neighbor through her peephole, waiting outside her apartment door. The video shows a man wearing a hooded sweatshirt, getting very close to the door as though he's listening in. The man's mouth is moving, but what he's saying is inaudible. He quietly knocks on the door. After no one answers, the man backs up and waits there. Later, Maddie captures what we can assume is the same man trying her doorknob. You can see the knob shaking, but the door is locked. Maddie looks out the peephole again, and you can only see the top of the man's head, like he's down low, trying to hide from view, or maybe even trying to use tools to get in. You can vaguely hear him say he knows that she's here. Well, this video is scary enough. A second video turns our fear up a notch. The man apparently lives next door to Maddie, and he tried to smash a hole right through her wall. She captures the damage on video and reassures viewers that cops are on the way. Maddie turned this TikTok account into pure documentation of this stalker's behavior. Her latest video shows she is safe and now in a new apartment. Maddie's advice to other individuals who find themselves in a similar situation is to document everything and protect themselves. This was truly one creepy neighbor. Yessa is exploring not a tunnel, not a cave, but a haunted well, as in a dark hole straight down. He gets strapped into a pulley system and slowly lowered into the claustrophobic entrance. Right away, he finds a snake at the bottom along with some other scary things that are way more concerning.
في شيء ترى هنا. بسم الله.
A toy blocks a small passage that he can't fit through, but a child can. Perhaps this is where the child who haunts this well crawled to after falling in. As he contemplates this possibility, something comes at him from behind.
المغارة هذه طويلة. هو كهف بس حرارة فيها غير طبيعي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
I think this is probably just part of the well, but it also kind of looks like the side profile of a boy's grinning face, rotten teeth and all. Don't believe in unknown beings? What if one strolled right up to tap on your window? This unknown being footage, posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by 77Kuren, will inspire you to take a trip over to Area 51. The footage shows an unknown being approach the window of a home. Its features are quite clear, with black gashes for eyes and an elongated cranium. You know, the kind of features you might expect from an unknown being. The unknown being stands there, peering into the home, observing. It even looks as though it's trying to find a way to open the window. If that is indeed what it's doing, it doesn't succeed, instead slinking off, perhaps to find the homeowner to take him. What do you think of this unknown being footage, real or fake? Either way, I'll be locking my windows tonight. Are you ready to spend the night in one of the most haunted places in the UK? Published in May of 2022, Exploring with Josh explores the Scurrid Inn, a place reputed to see high levels of paranormal activity. As the team spends their overnighter in the place, all is still and quiet until... Can you see it moving?
Oh, whoa, whoa! Whoa! Holy oh my
What the
holy shit.
Look at how fast
Bro, no bullshit.
As they continue to explore the place, gathered in a pack, they hear this noise.
See?
And yours.
You can't fake that. That might be the most amazing evidence in a long time. Bro, I'm actually kind of scared to sleep here.
Then as they're downstairs, they hear their music box detecting motion upstairs. When they ask the spirit to step forward, they hear it again. Who is brave enough to go and check it out? Upstairs, one of the crew listens in, relaying its messages to the rest.
Norse. Viking.
Leave.
Dude, he's straight up talking about you, on God. Dude, this is
One of the messages is very clear, and the messages get more pointed.
Fool, it's always devil like this and that.
Who's the fool?
You all.
Oh my
Tell your name.
Unholy.
When the group suggests pulling their crew member out, the spirit becomes adamant.
Dude, he said the craziest stuff to us already, like, we couldn't pull him out.
Should we? Yeah.
No, don't.
Yeah, we should pull him out. That was probably the scariest one we've ever had for, like, Estes message.
Now we're getting mixed messages. Does the spirit want them to go or stay? I'd sprint for it. These two scary videos were both captured in cemeteries. Published by Jesus Guadalajardo in June of 2018, a strange figure appears in the top corner of the footage early in the clip.
You got Easter eggs right there.
The figure seems to fly in and out of view very briefly, after which you can hear what sounds like high-pitched laughter. Too creepy for me. In the second video, published by Ghost Adventures of Cornwall in May of 2021, Mark captures a bright greenish yellow orb floating amongst the tombstones.
Whoa, thank you, spirits. Thank you. Thank you for showing yourself. Wow. That's amazing!
Mark is very encouraging of the orb as it appears and then leaves for a moment, only to appear again.
Wow, that's amazing, man. Look at that. He's showing himself. I feel it's a man.
One viewer in the comments says the color yellow is considered positive, so perhaps this is a good spirit. Are these spirits hanging around for their own reasons, or do they reappear to provide the living evidence of the afterlife?
A YouTuber named Dave World catches what in his words is a ghost standing in the middle of the road motionless. Or it could be a kid standing in the road to be weird, as somebody else points out. I thought this video looked familiar, and then I remembered this strange roadside encounter that Chills covered a while back. This is what a YouTuber named Joe Rob TV saw 2 years prior. I don't know if they are the same person or not, but both are standing with their arms behind their back in the exact same way and have a bizarre long neck and big ears, so there's a strong chance. One video has short sleeves and the other has long sleeves. A ghost doesn't change clothes, so I don't think it's a ghost. I'll keep looking for videos of this strange highway humanoid, who I'm gonna call the Long Neck Man, and keep you updated.
This CCTV footage comes from the London Dungeon, a famous tourist attraction in England that's rumored to be haunted. An employee is tending to their duties in the laundry room all alone. When they go to open the door to the washing machine, a hand reaches out and makes a grab at them. Weirder still is how the camera switches to static merely moments before this happens. Since technological malfunctions can often indicate the presence of the paranormal, and also given the location, I think this strange video could definitely be real, and if so, it's something that this employee will never be able to unsee. A Saudi Arabian ghost hunter known as Explorer Abdullah Al-Anzi goes investigating a haunted mansion that has been abandoned for a long time. Strange paranormal activity begins in the courtyard. Decades of decay have worn this place into little more than roomfuls of rubble that he is determined to explore. As he is wondering how many floors this building has, he realizes he is far from alone. He's exploring the basement when he hears something in a commanding voice. If you know what was said, then fill us in too.
ها؟ سمعتك مين أنت؟
He isn't sure where it's coming from, so he looks all around. Right before Abdullah turns around, something strange is caught on camera looking at him at 16 minutes and 23 seconds. A spirit or a creature with a single glowing eye. The voice is never heard again, so he thinks it's a jinn. Based on the paranormal evidence he's caught on camera, I think he's probably correct. A YouTuber named Josh Higgs is on vacation somewhere when a raging wildfire causes him to pack up and take off.
Oh wow. Yeah. Dude, that gets closer every time I record it. I know.
He and his family escaped to a remote cabin that's a good distance away. Firefighters have even cleared a ditch around the property in hopes of containing the spread. Soon it becomes apparent that they may not have gone far enough.
Way too close for comfort. And it's coming closer and closer. Whoa.
I can feel the warmth.
I know,
I can feel the warmth.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Josh and his family should have left a long time ago, but they wait until the fire is very close before they pile into their car and barely escape. I wouldn't be surprised if where they were standing was reduced to rubble and ash within the hour. A single gust of wind in the wrong direction could have sent the fire screaming towards them twice as fast as before. A YouTuber named MBJ Reports has a pest in his yard that has been bothering his dogs, so he decides to stick a garden hose down into the ground and flood it out of its den. Now they are waiting with a net to catch the pest and dispose of it if necessary. It isn't long before he sees two glowing eyes appear out of a second hole in the distance. This appears to be no ordinary pest, but rather a monster instead.
It's something. I don't know what that is.
It remains frozen in the beam of the flashlight for a while, hoping that he will leave it alone. Then the creature drops back into the ground below with a shriek. MBJ Report has had enough and decides to pull the creature up by its tail. He pulls back a red hand with a deep cut, which I unfortunately can't show here, and the video ends. I notice that the creature doesn't really move its limbs at all, and possibly looks like a toy, though I can be wrong. Even still, that doesn't explain the glowing red eyes though. So if you think you can tell if this is fake or real, then be sure to tell me how you know. How would you spend 30 minutes alone in an abandoned cartel hotel? This video, posted by Southern Afterlife Paranormal TV in January of 2020, puts truth or dare to the test when Josh and Todd take a half hour to themselves in the abandoned hotel at 3 a.m. The Alone Challenge saw the two partners split up in the highly graffitied abandoned hotel, terrifying themselves with unsettling noises and even more unsettling feelings. At 2 minutes 13 seconds, a viewer points out that it appears someone is standing in the doorway at the end of the hall. When Josh flashes his light, at around 3 minutes 48 seconds, a scary sound is heard, almost like a cabinet being shut.
I don't know what that was.
At around 5 minutes 40 seconds, Josh finds an upside down cross that's wet. He believes from the cold and dampness of the hotel. At around 14 minutes, he believes he smells fresh paint. Maybe some invisible graffiti artist is there to touch up their artwork. Most in the comments agree this place has an awful and uber creepy atmosphere. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, live people could be lurking around any corner. Don't know if I'd want to run into either in this nightmare hotel. Do you hear that haunting melody? It may be the vocalizations of an actual ghost. Posted by Charger3933 to the Ghosts subreddit. This clip captures a ghostly song in the abandoned asylum, Eloise Psychiatric Hospital in Michigan, which we've discussed at length in previous top 15s. Charger notes in the comments that he did not hear the singing during the visit, only afterwards when he listened back to the recording. The Redditor was wandering around the abandoned asylum with a friend when he heard disembodied footsteps coming up the stairs. As he tried to capture the footsteps via a Snapchat video, he heard screaming from a distance. He saved the video and later heard the haunting singing as well. Redditor wubbelubbedubbidy-doo in the comments writes, obviously we have to take the audio with a grain of salt because it's possible someone was hidden in the building. That being said, I hear the screams and sleep freaky AF. The same Redditor later notes in the thread that the uploader basically caught an EVP. He also remarks that he too hears the footsteps or something moving nearby. The uploader states that he tried to stay as still as possible and that he would also consider this an EVP as he did not hear the singing in real time. Redditor quite fast agrees that the singing sounds like a lullaby. The Redditor tried to isolate the woman's voice and added a clearer clip to the thread. The humming voice sounds even spookier with the audio cleared up, and as quite fast notes, you can almost hear the words safe and sound. Do you feel safe and sound after watching this video? In this scary video, Ghost Adventures of Cornwall receives some haunting EVPs from the devil. The first EVP is cryptic. The second set of EVPs don't sound to me quite what the team is hearing, particularly the name Mark, which is one of the crew members' names. I can distinguish found something and they're aliens from the EVP, but I think they're a stretch. The last EVP, however, is chilling.
What? Don't say the devil will play it.
Do you think the devil is playing? I personally wouldn't run the risk of playing this game. YouTube channel The Paranormal Road Trippers were sent on a mission by followers to check out one of Canada's most haunted roads.
With our driving experiment of up and down the road, we did not see any ghost dogs, nor did we see a ghost woman. We've sped the video up as we tried the experiment a total of 4 times.
Though the YouTubers did not encounter either the lost lady or the ghost dog, they completed a second experiment.
Is based on a story we've been told that if you leave the keys of the vehicle on the hood with your car turned off, that someone, specifically a girl, will come and take the keys off the hood of the truck. So we're gonna try that out.
And something unusual happened.
What happened?
My door just opened.
So while we were
My door just opened.
Has the ghost woman had enough of their experiments? Well, I'm not sure if a door falling open is enough to prove this place is haunted. I'm getting some super creepy vibes from this place. I'd keep off Keeping Road if I were you. This doll looks innocent enough, but is it? Molly, also known as Akka, is pure evil. Here is proof. The conversation starts out simple.
One of the objects I've put near your vessel. Thank you. Thank you, Molly.
When the paranormal investigator presses further, she receives a confirmation.
Molly, can you just confirm that this is you? Yeah.
She also reveals her true feelings.
Are you negative and grumpy? No. Are you misunderstood? Thank you.
And then the question we'd really like to know the answer to.
Do you wish to harm anyone in this house? Yes.
But Molly doesn't just want to harm anyone. She's got a specific person in mind.
Do you wish to harm my son, Sam? Yes.
It's probably time to take your son Sam and get out of Dodge. This person's nails are just long enough to produce one of the most stressful sounds ever recorded. If you somehow are able to keep from cringing from stress at what I'm about to show you, consider me impressed. Worst of all, judging by these claw marks seen at the very beginning of the video, I think they tend to enjoy making this noise all of the time. Something in the woods is about to blow this cop's mind and his eardrums. He walks back with wide eyes and puts his flashlight away, completely done with the situation until backup arrives, but backup doesn't seem to do much better. I think this could be a recording because the scream sounds exactly the same both times. So maybe somebody put a really good speaker system in the woods, or maybe that's just what I'm choosing to believe because I don't want to accept that this is real. Mikael Krogsbergen is deep in a cave in the tropical country of Laos when he catches this incredibly large arachnid lurking on the stony gray wall. Mikael later describes this spider as being the size of a full-grown pizza. Its eyes are large enough to reflect light back into the camera like a cat, which is something I've never seen a bug's eyes do. Eventually, the creature scurries into the darkness with the speed of a professional sprinter, never to be seen by human eyes again. According to the description, they are sure that this is a giant huntsman spider, which apparently will bite on occasion. Tell me if you agree with their assessment and how you were able to tell for sure. Did this YouTuber capture skinwalkers in a screaming match? While wandering through Gila National Forest, mysterious wailing echoed all around him. As the cameraman stood waiting, he heard the screams again. They were so terrifying, they spun him around. And again. But where is it coming from? And to whom does this wailing belong? Skinwalkers? Or something else entirely? I think I'm going to stay far away from that forest. Blurry Faces is a YouTuber exploring two mysterious schools standing next to each other. They were both built around World War II and have been abandoned for a long time. Everything starts out normal until Blurry Faces is exploring an upstairs room full of classroom furniture. After that, something seems to be stalking them at every turn. The strange banging noises only grow louder and more persistent as time wears on. I will give them credit for being courageous and sticking around for so long. This is the event that finally makes them lose their composure and scramble. This time, Blurry Faces bravely tests the weight of the door himself and finds that it's way too heavy to swing open with such ease. You can tell he is putting a lot more effort into opening and closing the door than whatever just opened it moments earlier. Tell me what's written in Spanish across the door and if it has any significance to what could be possibly lurking inside. This video was published to YouTube by Truthfinder 30330 in March of 2020. Truthfinder's paranormal experience is more than creepy, it's absolutely terrifying. According to the man in the video, who is holding up note cards to explain his situation, he's a student who moved into a townhouse with two roommates who'd begun to experience odd happenings inside the home. He attempted to capture video evidence, but was unable to until now. His roommates also reported strange things occurring. On the night in question, they were out and our friend was home alone in the townhouse. He begins filming upon entering his home. As he's walking around, he starts to hear strange noises, including knocking and then something that sounds like a piece of metal falling on the ground. When he goes to check it out in the kitchen. That's exactly what he finds. A metal ring on the tile floor. It looks like it fell off the light fixture. After going upstairs and putting his keys on his desk, the hall light fixture starts to go nuts, flickering on and off statically. When he turns around facing his room again, something is standing there with a sheet covering it, a human form. He pulls the sheet away to find nothing there. He searches his room to see if there's anything to explain the form. Under his desk in the closet, there's no one there. That is until he opens his bedroom door to the hallway and again finds this. If this video doesn't creep you out to the max, then you must be Superman. Number 5. The Wardrobe Ritual is one of the paranormal world's most dangerous games. YouTuber's PIT Paranormal Investigation team complete the ritual, which turns up more than they expected.
Cosa? Riaccendilo.
Something grabs Debbie, and it isn't human. What was that? A human-like hand appears for a moment to grab Debbie's shoulder, but no one is behind her. I do believe the ritual was successful. They summoned a demon. Now the question is, how do you send it back? Dennis and Tim of Nerve Paranormal return to the Atkinson Manor to see if there's anything they've missed their first time around. There certainly is something they've missed before, and it definitely does not miss them. They are first greeted by a stuffed animal that I don't think was there before. It looks much less dusty than the steps around it, and therefore was probably put there recently. Nerve Paranormal could have put that there themselves though, so even though it's creepy, it's also easily disproven. Less easy to disprove, however, is when they hear this commotion while holding a spirit box session. It sounds like something runs up the steps moments before the door opens, yet no one is there. When they return downstairs, they find this blue kid's chair, shown briefly at 3 minutes and 50 seconds, is now part of a neatly arranged circle at 17 minutes and 30 seconds. Just as they are wondering how the chairs got this way, they get their answer. This still frame, taken in a flash of his camera at 17 minutes and 44 seconds, shows the chairs 1 second before they pull away. You can see no strings running on the floor whatsoever. I don't see how this is possible unless they put magnets on the bottom of these chairs and slid them across the ground from one floor below, which requires 4 different people and a lot of effort. Instead of running away to somewhere safe, they stand their ground, which seems to make the ghost of the manor grow even more displeased. Then again, this object just so happens to be within kicking distance of the cameraman, so maybe he did it himself and then acted surprised. When Tim and Dennis decide to leave a minute later, they hear 4 footsteps and the doors open. This could be a spirit or it could be their friends. I think it could be real considering they eventually chose to escape off the roof and risk falling to get out of there. Are You Being Followed? Published by Moosey in August of 2021. One subscriber to the channel claimed there was a paranormal forest near their house, so Moosey went to investigate. This is what happened. Using a paranormal filter on his camera, Moosey takes a few photos. He then goes home to develop them, or at least check them out on his laptop. He shows one of the photos of the paranormal forest without the filter. It looks completely normal, albeit a bit spooky. Note that there's no one in sight. However, the exact same landscape shot with a paranormal filter shows something different. Off to the right, a creepy and mysterious figure with dark hair and a white dress is standing in the brush. She is facing left and looking straight ahead. Another shot of the forest unfiltered again shows no one in sight, but apply the filter and the figure is there again, closer this time, and appears to be looking at Moosey. Although it's hard to tell, as her face is transparent, she looks as if half of her has been erased. Moosey believes this entity followed him home. If she did, what is she after? I'm guessing his soul. While playing a virtual reality game, this dude leveled up. YouTuber Mario Lara posts this video of what appears to be a tiny being entering into his virtual reality. Watch the doorway behind him. At first, it looks like a small child. But it moves too fast to be anything human. Has a figment from this man's game stepped into his reality? I think that may be what's happening here. Or maybe we've all become so digitally disconnected from reality that we're glitching into the Matrix. Mind blown. A YouTuber and his friends explore an unknown sewer system deep underground. They laugh and joke their way down an oversized pipe when it gives way to a maze of tunnels with graffiti on cement walls. At one point, they find a pile of clothes and mounds of trash. Someone clearly lives down here, but they curiously press forward to see what's next. They visited the sewer before, but now they are down deeper than they've ever dared to go. After a while, they see another flashlight in the distance.
Oh, hello? Calling good. What? Hello? Excuse me, sir?
No one responds and the light soon fades away. After 18 minutes and 5 seconds of exploring, the tunnel finally opens up into a room, and they find the person from before. There's a big commotion and many voices talking at once. At 8 minutes and 16 seconds, you can hear a much deeper voice say something like, "Get out." Let me know if you hear it.
We are.
They quickly obey and sprint out of the tunnel, hopefully to never return again. Maybe the person living down there saw that they were recording and decided to give them a pass instead of taking their lives. This scary video clip captured not just one misty spirit miraculously floating atop the water, but a second emerging from below. Posted to TikTok by Horror Talk, the apparition gracefully glides on the water's surface, only for his brother's head to appear, materializing from the same point in the water. It grows upwards, but we're left to wonder where the pair of spirits wandered off to, and from where they came. Some in the comments think this is a weather balloon. Others say it's La Llorona, the weeping woman who roams the waterfront. What do you think it could be? It's 2 at night when this doorbell cam captures something that really shouldn't be possible. Pay attention to the area by the white railing to see it. Some kind of smoky blur appears out of nowhere and paces back and forth twice before disappearing. The uploader insists that this is a ghost, and I agree that it is a strong possibility. Look again and it almost looks like a large head accompanied by 2 hanging arms, or at least that's what I see. Let me know if you can see it as well. This home in Villisca, Iowa is where an axe-wielding maniac once took the lives of an entire family and 2 guests. Whoever did it was never brought to justice, and now, more than 100 years later, the restless spirits of those left behind have yet to find peace. A YouTuber named Lighthouse Music senses the spirit of children hiding in the closet and starts recording. She speaks in a nice tone and offers candy. Nothing happens for some time until... Then, as if further proof was needed, the spirit appears to follow some other basic commands.
Just a little bit further, or can you close it?
They even ask the child to open the door wider than before as a test, and it timidly seems to obey. But the part that really has me convinced is at the very end.
Just in case that was you, I'm gonna do as promised. I'm gonna leave you some candy. I'm gonna leave it right here, over here on this chair for you, okay? Well, thank you.
Notice how the door shuts harder than any other time in the video as soon as the spirit gets what it wants. Maybe it could be a draft from a nearby window opening and closing the door, but this definitely seems like childlike behavior to me. Years ago, everyone was talking about a possible witch sighting on the side of the road in India that went viral. Now a second scary video is making rounds, this one possibly taken from around the same area. An older traveler with a cane appears to be walking down the middle of the road at night in bright white robes. As the driver gets closer, he is surprised to find the strange man is taking steps, but not moving forward, almost like a ghost. Tell me what they are saying here, because they sound excited and I would really like to know what their real reaction to a ghost sighting was. Then the strange figure begins to walk backwards in slow, jerky movements, without so much as even looking behind him once. This is probably one of their friends, but if they actually caught a real ghost on camera, like they think they have, then I guess the paranormal apparition would have no reason to fear cars. And after all, the worst has already happened, and now this feeble ghost is forever forced to explore the haunted road, where potentially its life came to pass. After a day of poking around an abandoned asylum turns up nothing of interest, a YouTuber named Abandoned Explorer and his friends are leaving when an SUV comes close to running them over. Out steps an aggressive older man, who first admits to putting them in danger, and then kicks over their camera.
Alright, the police are coming. You tried running me down? I did run you down. I tried to put that out. I put it out first.
Here it looks like he is getting back into his car to drive away, but look closely and you'll see he is actually rummaging around the back seat for something.
He's got a gun! Yes, he's got a gun. Yeah.
That's when the group realized what it is he's reaching for. It's hard to say how much trouble they were truly in based on the way he used his car against them. I also have little doubt that this man would have also used a piece if they had stayed instead of run. If you've ever wondered what La Llorona sounds like, elcacoy.tv has the answer for you. Luckily, she's not there in the shower.
Juro que escuché aquí. Juro que. No mames, chinga tu madre. Mames.
And she sounds a lot nearer in the end, so she must be leaving. At least I hope that's the case for the person behind the camera. What are the jinns trying to hide? YouTube team Paranormal Mai confronts the lie of the jinn in this scary video. After walking through this empty bare home, he returns to this room where he finds a strange setup.
Bismillah. Allahu Ekber.
Did a jinn just enter this home? If so, where is it? I wouldn't look over your shoulder if I were you.
Karşımda duruyor sandım. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
A YouTuber named DK goes ghost hunting at 3 a.m. using a mirror in his home that's apparently haunted. He sets up a camera and waits until 3 a.m. Sure enough, the video glitches out and shows what appears to be someone's hand. Also, look in the mirror itself and you'll see a face looking to the left with its eyes closed. Let me know if you see it, and if so, what you make of this haunted mirror. A pet snapping turtle doesn't take kindly to its owners and already has its mouth open. The warning sign goes unheeded, but thankfully one of his friends inadvertently saves him by getting his attentions moments before this happens.
He said, "What's up?"
This was almost a solid chunk of flesh taken out of his face, and a trip for medical attention for certain. This door manages to stay open for 5 full seconds before slowly swinging shut for some reason, and I want to know why. It's a lightweight door, so maybe his house isn't level, and that's why his door is shutting like that. Or maybe I just don't want to believe that his house is haunted after all. So is this an unlevel house or something paranormal? Not all of us want to be detectives in this scary case, but sometimes the job is forced on us. YouTube team Exploring with Angelo ends up on the trail of a possible life taker with this Randonautica gone wrong. It takes the crew to this creepy forest where they see a light amongst the trees.
There's definitely someone coming. Yeah. Are you catching it on that camera?
The light grows brighter and gets closer. The beam of light flickers in the darkness. And then they capture what's holding it. Using night vision, they get a close shot of the figure as it continues in its mission. After the figure leaves, they follow its footprints in the snow, and they encounter him yet again from a distance.
See anything? Yeah, they're right there.
As they get closer, they smell a strong stench.
Smell? I don't know. You smell that? Yeah.
One YouTuber points out another light beam from behind them later as they're reading this note.
Senior position in our new Arizona community. Which makes sense. Do you remember that letter that we found?
This is the...
We were in Arizona and it was talking about a new commune or something.
Okay, yes, now that you...
Does the beam belong to that strange figure? Later, as they're walking, they hear a scream in the night. I don't know what any of this means. I'm not sure if it means losing your life, but I would have to go and check the area again because it looks to me like the figure was burying something, but I'd definitely do that in the daylight. Christmas is apparently a time for scary things caught on camera, according to one grumpy ghost who is not exactly in the holiday spirit. I'm not 100% convinced that this scary ghost video's real, but I have to admit it's awfully strange how their dog barks right before it happens. It sounds like the dog knows something is already in the house, something paranormal, or perhaps they are simply using a string. A supposedly real ghost sighting was caught on dashcam video by VBO Life while exploring one of the most haunted places in Delhi. It happens fast, so watch closely or you'll miss the scary stuff. An apparition appears in front of them and they get freaked out, or so it seems. Slow it down and at 8 minutes and 22 seconds you'll see the spirit is supposed to be in front of the car, but the very bottom of its dress accidentally clips into the hood. So while this video's creepy, I can also safely say it's not real. A person is paying their respects in the cemetery when a haunted figure emerges behind them. Look closely, and at 20 seconds you can see the specter lean forward and reach out for him before pulling back and withdrawing into the woods. If this is not edited, then it almost looks like the spirit is trying to provide some kind of comfort to someone who is mourning their loss, or maybe they are attempting a possession. It's hard to say which. After a while, the mysterious figure loses shape and completely fades away into a shapeless mist. Real paranormal ghost sighting in the cemetery, or just computer-generated effects, you tell me. Facebook stalking is not uncommon. What happens when cyber stalking is taken to the next level? Kristen Pratt knows. A college classmate at the University of Central Florida messaged her on Facebook. On the other side, Patrick must shown a cyber stalker that would soon become obsessed with her and likely scar her for life. At first, the contact seemed normal. He wanted to know what she was up to, how life and work was going. But after she replied, things soon took a turn. Patrick started messaging Pratt relentlessly on Twitter and Facebook, including one tweet that said, "It is up to you now to save your life. I have no options." He called her 40 times in the span of 5 hours at one point. He made 27 videos about her that were thought to be lost.
You don't want me for life, Kristen Pratt? That's a very unwise decision.
This obsession was torment to Pratt, and she did what she could to stop it. She changed her phone number, but he somehow found it and continued to harass her. She even tried to alter her appearance, but nothing worked. Short of reporting Patrick to the police, which she finally did, he was arrested and sentenced to 4 years behind bars, a much shorter sentence than Pratt received. She's been given a life sentence of fear and paranoia. She says she is constantly looking over her shoulder. A musical performance tunes up the paranormal apparently. Published by Chloe Fantion in July of 2013. 2 men are playing music together in a bedroom, one guitarist and one violinist. They wrap up their song and leave the room, letting their camera roll. Once they've left, a shirt drapes over the shelf, falling down strangely, like there's a body inside. A moment later, items fall from the top shelf, and then both instruments start moving at once. The guitar falls completely off of the bed. Was this duo's music so haunting that it conjured up the paranormal? Or is something even more sinister going on here? This video, posted in November of 2013, purports to show found footage of a graveyard sighting. The clip opens on a headstone reading Maria Melgar. A cross made of punched out holes is centered in the stone, making one man wonder aloud what was supposed to be placed in the holes. The cameraman zooms out, capturing his friend pointing in the distance. He says that's where the grave is. They zoom in closer on the figure. It does appear to be tall and slender, and apparently is standing right in front of the cameraman's brother's grave. The figure is dressed in a suit, seems to be bald, and has an extremely pale face. Is this Slender Man? Or just some creep in a cemetery? I guess we'll never know for sure. Creepy videos don't get much scarier than the creature caught lurking around Anton Meyer's house. No, his house is not haunted, at least not in the traditional sense, but this scary moment will definitely haunt him for the rest of his days in South Africa. The animal control expert needs to move the snake into a cylinder containment unit on the floor, but as more and more of the creature stretches forth, I don't think it will fit. I wanted to know if this is a snouted cobra like he says it is. If so, these snakes are highly venomous and probably the absolute last species you'd want in your home, let alone in such an intimate area. Oh, and by the way, according to the description of this video, the handler accidentally lost his grip and the snake made the watery retreat back to where it came from. Hopefully it doesn't make a second appearance when they least expect it, but since cobras tend to be territorial during certain parts of the year, it's likely to return at some point. A YouTuber named Area Awesomeness claims these pet leeches are for more than just a show. Apparently they can help treat things, but the only way to experience these supposed benefits is by letting a leech latch on to you. And believe it or not, these ones are only about a year old and not even full size. Adults can grow up to 2 feet in length and would pack an even bigger bite. With this in mind, the whole situation stresses me out too much to try it, but that's just my opinion. Tell me what you think about this part.
They can either be fed, I guess, human blood, animal blood, whatever you prefer.
And if you would be brave enough to try, TikToker Marlene Sanchez 052 thought her partner was joking when he started to behave like something was pulling him. It turns out he wasn't. Watch closely.
When I thought he was joking, but something was really pulling him.
His leg really does look like it's being yanked by something. This is not a natural movement that you make on your own. Some in the comments also note a child's giggle at the beginning of the clip. Is that child actually there? Or is it the child spirit pulling his leg? I think it's the latter, and that's truly terrifying because that kid is strong. Max from YouTube channel Paranormal Point is investigating the so-called Swamp of the Dead in this scary video. It leads him into dark places. As he continues to delve deeper into the swamp, he gets readings on his device, but that's not all. The device continues to be triggered, particularly by this large tree. Then he appears to see something in the darkness. It's too dark to make out with the human eye, but Max retreats. When he breaks out the spirit box to interview the spirit has questions of her own.
Чтобы помочь тебе покинуть наш мир.
She tells him something ominous. Who is he and who are they? And where will they take him? If I were Max, I wouldn't follow. This doll is supposed to cry and crawl by itself, but it's not supposed to contort itself into bone-breaking positions while doing so.
His legs! And they're like the same foot legs. Oh man, that's bad.
The crying piece of plastic continues to pop its limbs out of place when a stunned family records in amazement. Some commenters are sure that this strange display is an early warning sign from malevolent spirits. I personally am curious if this YouTuber experienced any other strange events after this happened. If you have any more information about this video, or if this is some kind of common defect with this type of doll, then I would definitely like to know about it. Vikers Hill in Northern Ireland has a twisted history, and a piece of this history may have been caught on video. A bit of backstory. The footage shows a shadowy figure in Georgian attire cross the street around noon near the Church of Ireland Cathedral. Normal looking enough at first, that is, until it vanishes into the wall of the grounds opposite the cathedral. The ancient city of Armagh has a rich Georgian history, so the dress is befitting of the area. According to the man whose grandmother caught this on camera, she was still hyperventilating from the shock of seeing the ghost. If you saw what appeared to be a solid figure vanish like this, Wouldn't you be? And considering the history of this place, it's not far-fetched to think this is paranormal. Is something living in this underground train station? Posted on the r/ghosts subreddit by Ben Taylor. The scary video shows the behind-the-scenes nature of the underground at Crewe Station in the UK. As the Redditor and his friend walk through the station, mysterious haunting noises echo through the underground, like a creature is roaring or wailing, like an animal. The roaring repeats over and over. The boys walk through a fenced-in area and the sound gets louder, but its source isn't any more apparent.
It stopped. Do you not hear it? Stop.
Yeah.
The sound repeats and then changes a little, causing the cameraman to turn around and hightail it out of there. It stops for a moment but then continues again as they decide to retreat.
Come on, get out. I'm going because we've got to do tricks anyway.
The Redditor writes, the area was checked for dogs, animals, and even an injured security guard by transport police, as the noise was causing the staff to stay away from the area. No dogs, no humans, no pipes were there for the dog to stick its nose in. A howl down and security informed us nothing was found the next day, but the noise returned the next night. One Redditor in the comments, Nululus, says it might be a small deer species that's an invasive breed in the UK called the muntjac deer. Others still think it's an injured dog or a piece of machinery, but the Redditor seems to lean toward the paranormal, as he says other employees have heard strange noises and seen unexplained objects moving. We could make theories all day, but it's only the Redditor and his co-workers who witnessed it in person. So if they're saying it's paranormal, I think that explanation makes the most sense to me. When the paranormal team Cazadores das Sombras went to investigate this ritual site, what they found was a living nightmare. As they approached the site, they find what appears to be a body levitating high above a fire pit.
Que é isso aí, galera?
They later hear something in the surrounding woods.
Sai, mano. Os caras vindo. Os caras gritando, velho. Os caras gritando lá.
Now, back in the safety of their vehicle, they're left to ponder what their eyes saw. Without context, it's difficult to know what's going on here. Is this person being levitated by some dark magic? And for what purpose? I can't provide any insight on this one, but I do know that I'm super creeped out by the events here. Lord British LP is standing on his porch as a big storm rips through his neighborhood. His internet is down, so he records a video about nothing in particular to help pass the time. That's when he temporarily goes blind. A bolt of lightning hits the street lamp in front of his house and fills his vision with whiteness. He runs cursing into his house to get away. It's easy to miss, so I circled the street lamp that was struck by lightning to give you a better look at just how close he came to being literal toast. There's nothing creepier than finding extra limbs in your home movie. Published to YouTube in March of 2015 by Patrick Cochran. This video of the haunted Hinsdale house in New York will leave you terrified. Located on McMahon Road in Hinsdale, New York, the Hinsdale house runs tours for paranormal investigators and scare fans alike, as it's known to be one of the most haunted houses in the area. The mysterious history of the place includes everything from an exorcism to unexplainable events and sightings. Some of these events are recorded in the book Echoes of a Haunting. Haunting is centered around the Dandy family who lived in the home with their kin in the 70s. The family claims a number of spirits visited them during their stay, and they even had a priest come on more than one occasion to perform an exorcism. The house won out though, and the Dandy family eventually fled the haunted place. A number of other families made attempts to call the Hinsdale house their home, but no one stayed for long. The present owner, Daniel Clays, doesn't live in the home, but allows paranormal teams to investigate the home. This video may show an investigation or just a regular ghost tour. The group wanders through the haunted house in the darkness, which is creepy enough as it is. Then around 2:36 you see it. A strange arm swings into sight in the darkness. What is that? It certainly doesn't look human. YouTuber Tommy Poo writes in the comments, of all the countless videos I have viewed on YouTube and other social media sites since 2009, this is only the second where I believe visual proof of paranormal entities has been digitally captured. YouTuber Ty Cheeman adds, I was involved in the paranormal investigation show as a special guest star at the Hinsdale house 2 years ago, and it has plagued me since with negative activity around me and my home. It seems Ty was certainly not alone in his experience. There's a reason no family ever lasted long in the Hinsdale house. Could you? Me neither. This alleged ghost was caught on video rummaging around a property of an arcade in Dallas. The phantom blob glides over the grass and quickly fits through an entranceway. It's pretty convincing to me. Here's a second video of it. This looks like a cheaper camera, but it picks up the same shape. The only possible explanation I have besides the paranormal is maybe an insect is crawling across the lens. Vijama is taking the 24-hour challenge in a haunted house that burned down 10 years ago, claiming the lives of an entire family inside. All throughout the night they feel nervous and on edge, as if they're being watched by something that does not appreciate their presence at all.
No, I heard something in there.
Despite feeling persistently watched, the two friends manage to fall asleep for a while. Then this YouTuber is suddenly awakened by his friend, who claims to have heard something.
He was asleep, bro. I just heard a massive bang, trying to see what it is.
Vijama looks really tired and worn down during this scene, which makes me think it could be real. They're checking out the room where the noise was coming from, when suddenly they feel like they're being watched again.
That's probably the gas fan. What the was that? Alex?
It could be the camera lighting, but I feel like I definitely see a shadowy figure retract into the doorway as soon as they turn around. Watch this part again in slow motion and tell me if you see any strange fluttering movements in the doorway. The cameraman bravely goes into the room where the shadow last retreated and finds a very tiny unnatural doorway leading to who knows where. At this point, they've seen enough and quickly exit without completing the challenge or finding out where the narrow entrance goes. The G team visited downtown Savannah, Georgia at night in this paranormal investigation. The first spirits they meet seem to be super friendly.
In the streets around here. Hi. Did it just say hi?
Hi. Oh. Sentence.
They begin to feel a presence around them.
The car, that's why it stopped.
Okay, so when I was over there a few minutes ago, I thought somebody walked up behind me. And I looked around, there was nobody there, and you were way over that way.
Peering into the Davenport house, the lady's spidey senses start to tingle.
Oh, that's weird. Look at that. So this is the Davenport house.
Then, as they're standing outside more historic buildings, they hear this mysterious noise.
I was looking up there because I felt like something was up there.
Oh, what was that? Did you hear that?
I did.
And even creepier, they see what appears to be a shadow entity. In the end, the G team is feeling such creepy vibes that they call it a day.
Get this sketched out very easily. I'm usually the one getting the sketched out feelings, but she's got it really bad.
I'm like, usually, let's do it. Let's go for it. Let's get in there.
Would you keep up the search? Me neither. This bizarre and giant sea creature was recorded by someone casually sipping their morning coffee in the English village of Tynemouth. It looks like it has the head of a dolphin until it dives underwater and shows an eel-like body. One thing I don't understand is why he quickly zooms out when the creature surfaces at exactly 1 minute. It could have been an accident, or it could have been to hide from us the fact that this is a rubber mat, like one person says in the comments. I'm no expert, but that does look more like a creature than a mat to me. What do you see? Posted in March of 2020 by YouTuber Steve Ronan. He explores what he describes as an old church that's been around for 100 years, with power still on and with rumors of rituals still being performed there. Accompanied by paranormal investigator Andrew, Steve and his team set out to explore this temple, which Andrew claims holds dark rituals inside. It's no great surprise then that demons supposedly haunt the place. They arrive on the scene of a truly spooky abandoned place at night, a cemetery surrounding it, overgrown with foliage. Inside the place, there's a door that leads beneath it, which reminds Steve of an abandoned place he previously explored with a tomb below. Opening the door, there appears to be firewood and mason jars down there. As they continue to explore, is in the temple, is that an overhanging light starts swinging. Supposedly no one touched it. They start to hear noises.
Yeah, you were with us. Did you just hear that clang? Bro, hello? Did you guys hear that?
A scream that sounds like a little girl, a sound from the light which Steve describes like a spine cracking.
Whoa, that scream! That was like a little girl. Bro, the lights is moving back again. It just went. You didn't hear that? Yeah, the light just went. It sounded like a spine cracking.
They consider exploring the room below, but a load of spiders prevents them. As they continue around the temple, on the ground they find a pile of burnt books and some cards laid out. 666. Another 6 is placed above, though Steve is unsure what it all means. As Andrew is messing about with an AM/FM radio, Steve feels something on his back. He says he feels like there's a spider there. He removes his coat so that Andrew can check it out. There is no spider, but 2 red marks streak across his back. The pair of scratches run from top to bottom, as if he's been branded. Steve says it burns, and also denies having scratched it on anything. They wonder if it's a Trinity mark. Some in the comments of this video suggest that he accidentally scratched himself when climbing under the chapel. Others think that it looks like 2 lashes from a whip. Brooklyn Girl 230, however, offers advice. Those mysterious scratches are a warning to you to stay far away from these places. Seems like the smartest conclusion to draw here. A video of a human torso walking upright is probably one of the scariest home CCTV moments I've ever seen caught on tape. The main reason it looks so terrifying is because this is mostly a marionette puppet instead of CGI, which requires more work but looks more realistic. Somebody is most likely pulling its strings from above to make it walk, or at least I hope so. YouTubers Lucas and Marcus were filming a video when they discovered that someone was following them. They first noticed the stalker as they're driving down a dark road at night.
Yeah, is he following? I don't know. Is he still following us? Bro. Yeah, I think he might be. He's still seeing. Yeah, I think he might have turned off his headlights. Really? Yeah. He's still seeing him. Barely see him.
They even consider calling the cops.
Should I call Officer O'Neill again? Huh? I don't know. Maybe you can meet us on the property and help us? Yeah. Okay.
And then they do.
Officer O'Neill, can you hear me? Yes, I can. Do you think you can meet us on the property? I think someone's following us.
Sure, where are you guys at?
We're at our house again.
Okay, let me respond. I'm off duty, but I'm in the area. I can fight out there for you guys.
The officer comes out accompanied by a dog and searches the grounds.
All right, Officer O'Neill just arrived at the Dobre residence. I'm off duty doing some canine training, but received a call out for a suspicious person. Can do an exterior canvass with canine miso. The vehicle's last seen approaching the mountain, following the mountain.
They find some evidence of an intruder.
That right there. Assume he probably took off running and dropped it.
Hold up. That's money clip?
I haven't touched it because of evidence. We're gonna have someone impound that and process it. But
okay.
Looks like he just maybe dropped that when he was running.
Then, after hearing something outside, they finally see their stalker.
Yo, hold up.
They call the officer back and he returns to check out the premises.
Okay, he's right there. Yeah, oh! Wait. Where is he? Do you see him? Right there. Oh yeah, you see him?
let's go.
Where is he? Get him? Officer, did you see him? He's not.
Although they didn't catch the stalker, at least not in this video, it seems to me that he's cornered, but the real question is, what did this guy want? This is supposedly the last footage of two guys who were driving through a forest in 2006, uploaded by Lars Helg Nedrabo. He writes, "This is some of the footage found on their camcorder. From what they are saying on the video, they were trying to take a shortcut through the forest. The footage is dark and not so clear, but it shows two friends driving along a road, laughing, singing, and generally having a good time. At one point, they are in a forested area when they come across a roadblock. One of the friends gets out to move it. The road beyond is a bit spookier. It's bordered by trees and darkness. They come across another roadblock, and the driver stops so his friend can pop out again to move it, but he can't for some reason. It's locked perhaps. He gets back in the car, and we can assume they turned around to get back onto the main road. Then, for some reason, they get out of the safety of their car and head into the forest. Bad idea. While they're walking, they hear something not of this world. The sound is disturbing and seems to scare the men who are searching for its source with a dim flashlight, but they start laughing, as it sounds strange, like an animal choking or something. Soon, however, they're not laughing. Whatever creature was making that noise suddenly attacks one of them. While the other races towards the car, you can hear him sobbing as he attempts to get back inside to safety, but he doesn't make it. The creature attacks him as well, and the camera catches him as he falls to the ground and is dragged off. We can assume neither of the pair made it out alive, as the title Last Footage would suggest. What was this creature? Do you think this footage is fake or real? It's been debated on the internet for quite a while now, whether real or not. It's quite scary. A creepy stranger in a crazy mood is apparently trying her best to freak out the owner of this doorbell camera. With all the weird things she's caught on tape doing, she walks towards the doorbell camera while making a face, and she turns around when she sees the headlights of an oncoming car. Clearly aware that she's doing something wrong and afraid of getting caught, she steps away as the car passes, but soon she's back at it again, this time chomping at the camera and then doing some weird movements with her arms. Maybe she's got the wrong house and thinks she knows the owner of this doorbell cam. Maybe she's trying to get their attention and wants to be let in. She doesn't necessarily look dangerous, but doesn't appear to be in her right mind and could probably change moods at any moment. So I don't blame the homeowner for not opening the door and seeing what she wanted. I doubt it was anything good. A man records his pet cat studying its reflection in a mirror for the very first time. The animal is fascinated, and over again, it tests the reflection by cautiously putting one paw in front of the other, almost as if it doesn't completely trust what it is seeing. Now satisfied that this mirror image is no threat, the cat settles down and looks behind for one moment, but as it turns out, its initial instincts were right all along. If you didn't catch it, the cat's reflection does not match the cat's own movements. So what do you think? Was this special effects or a once-in-a-lifetime moment caught on video? I'm convinced that house is haunted since it looks too realistic to be done by amateur video editing. A YouTuber named Van Thoughtski captures a scary moment on his GoPro as he rounds a corner and almost makes contact with a pedestrian who, for whatever reason, chooses to walk on the road instead of taking a few steps over to safety on the grass. 1 second later, another scary moment is caught on GoPro when he has a close encounter with what I suspect is her dog, who cuts off someone else and almost causes a major problem on the road. This video is taken in the Philippines, so I don't exactly know what their laws are like, but this scary event could have been prevented had she been on the side of the road with her dog on a leash. Let me know if what she was doing is legal or not if you are from there. Jinn are intelligent spirits from Arabian mythology that have the mysterious ability to possess humans. And according to this video, they take that mysterious ability to the next level, which is apparently ninja based. Published to YouTube by Deranged Sajib in September of 2020, this scary possession has this man's limbs into something like a crab.
Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum. Kamu bukan Muslim ya?
The man is captured on video doing a creepy crab walk backwards and forwards across the floor as a holy man stands over him, attempting to exorcise him of the jinn. The man keeps low to the ground, smacking his palms to the floor with his fingers bent upwards. He speaks to the holy man in a haunting, possessed rasp.
Kenapa? Saya berapa? Oh, 2 tahunan. Sebelum di sini di mana kamu aslinya?
Although the clip cuts out before we can see whether the man was freed of his possession, many in the comments note that the spirit who possessed him seemed like a ninja jinn.
Oh, berarti kalau kayak gitu kamu jahat. Kamu berurusan sama saya, kamu jahat. Hah? Sekarang jadi urusan saya.
Well, I don't know about that. If it was the case though, the man is acquiring these skills, even if only via a spirit taking over his body. Sensitive sensor lights can sense stuff invisible to the human eye, at least this one can. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Spread the Words, the Redditor shares that strange things have been occurring in his grandmother's house. One of these strange things involve orbs that seem to trigger the hallway sensor lights. This happened on more than one occasion. The short clip does show an orb rising into view, and instantly the hallway light turns on. Is this a paranormal event or merely a coincidence? Believers in the paranormal commonly think orbs are light energy that is somehow linked to the spirit world. Skeptics believe they're just air particles, dust, water, or other types of photography backscatter. But how do you explain dust triggering a light sensor? While there are plenty of skeptics in the comments saying this orb is just dust, others are prone to think otherwise. How would dust turn on a light? A Narrow369 writes that he would assume it was dust if the motion light wasn't triggered by it, but every time the orb appears, the light turns on. Others observe that if the light sensor was sensitive enough to be triggered by dust, wouldn't the light always be on? Whose side are you on? What are these strange so-called light balls that keep setting this Redditor's cameras off? Redditor Spambone is wondering if the Reddit community has any theories. Well, let's see what we can come up with as well. Let's take a look. This goes on for 2 minutes. Sometimes 2 light balls appear simultaneously. Some say it's obviously a bug, others think it's a web of some kind. Still, others say it's a laser pointer or a reflection of some other light source. Practically, no one thinks this is an orb or paranormal in any way, and neither do I. I'm firmly in the spider or cobweb camp. What do you think it is? With her camera recording, a girl kneels before a darkened doorway and challenges a spirit to touch her. A light passes over the room and her hair is brushed over her shoulder as if someone is passing through. I find this video hard to believe because that definitely looks like a flashlight coming from the other room, based on the way it hits the wall beside her in a concentrated circular beam. With that said, it still doesn't explain how her hair moved with no one nearby. Let me know if this effect is possible to do in Photoshop, or whether or not you think this is real. If it is real, then I have no idea why she would want to summon something so powerful in her own home. Something is taking a hold of Michael in this haunted home. Published by D-Doc Michael, the first thing this paranormal explorer finds is this unsettling sickle. After resheathing it, he continues his exploration, only to soon be disturbed by strange noises. The noises continue, reminding him that he's not alone.
예, 감사합니다. 방금 뭐라고 하셨어요? 아이고 씨발.
He hears a rustling while he's outside.
계세요 혹시? 저기.
Inside, he hears something else. Then, while he's arranging some coffee cups, it seems as though he's been shocked. He asks the spirits to speak with him, but they don't answer. Although he does seem to hear something behind him, he follows it down a dark hallway into this room. Something seems to be happening to Michael, though it's unclear what. He returns to the same area to address the spirits, but it seems like the spirits don't want to talk. Instead, they get aggressive. What is taking hold of Michael? Whatever it is seems to want him to remain there forever. I think that's the cue to leave. If you were a fan of Tales from the Crypt, this scary video is right up your alley. Published by Proving Demons in October of 2021, this video welcomes you to the land of the no longer living. When they arrive on site, the first thing that greets them is a cemetery.
Oh, it's a cemetery.
There's a cemetery here.
Navigating through brambles down to a lower entrance, they arrive at a barbed wire fence. It's clear that the owners didn't want anyone getting in here. They have to wade through the barbed wire to get to the door, having traveled 5 hours to explore this site.
Oh, please, God, let it be open. We've traveled 5.5 hours.
At last, they arrive at the door and are thankfully able to open it. Wandering through the old church, they encounter several crypts. More open crypts and coffins are found at the end of the hallway, while well water floods the floor. A human skull is in one open coffin and there is human hair still on it.
Oh, no.
Come here.
No.
Education. So, I want to point out, just shine a light on it for me. There's still hair on its head. Still got teeth. Obviously, oh, that's rotting brain in there.
As he's prodding the skull head, they think they hear something down the hallway.
What?
What's wrong?
Examining the skull more closely, you can see it still has human hair and teeth. As they're talking about how it felt like someone was walking behind them, someone shushes them from what sounds like the corner of the room.
Really? What was that? Shh. Somebody just shushed us.
It seems this team of urban explorers has disturbed the peace. All I know is I would never be going back to that place. Picture this. You're surveying an abandoned room when you see this. Published by Oliver Fuhr in March of 2022, this scary video and image are trending in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community. It looks like this was once a classroom. All the desks and chairs are piled into a corner of the room. As the camera pans around in the darkness, it captures a bureau. There are books, papers, and magazines piled within each cupboard, except for this bottom one. What is that? In a half-open cupboard appears a young girl with long black hair, wearing a white dress. Her face looks skull-like, not human, maybe demon. The cameraman doesn't appear to see her in the moment. He continues to pan around toward the windows, and when he swings back, the cupboard is empty. What is this figure? And where did she go? She's probably behind you. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.